Welcome back to another episode of Kanode Knows, brought to you by DIGBMX. This week we got Wes McGrath. He used to ride for Stranger and work for Shadow and Sabrosa as a photographer. I've been on so many trips with him. We have a lot in common, and we've been in the game almost the same amount of time. He's definitely much more still in the game than I am, but I love him. Wes is a big homie, and it was cool to get caught up and ask him some questions that I never really asked him when we would hang out. So hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did, and you might learn a thing or two about the Albuquerque scene and how Wes navigated his BMX photography career and how he ended up with Dig. Shout out Dig. This podcast and Wes McGrath are brought to you by DIGBMX. Let's get into it. Here's Wes. Hi, Wes McGrath. It seems we find ourselves on the same team again.
Yo, what's up, Bobby? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Nice. I'm doing good. Just chilling here at my sister's place here in LA. Hanging out, enjoying the morning.
What does she do out there?
Well, technically, my sister, she lives back in Austin right now.
Okay.
So this is her place that she's been living here with her fiance for about 5 years or so. And it's pretty interesting. It's like an off-grid living situation in like the middle of LA, pretty much.
That's wild. And that's rare.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, they have it's really great. They have basically the only thing is like city water that they have, and then they do solar and different like the living situation is all hand built and stuff. So it's nice.
That's really super cool. Nice. So when the apocalypse happens, can I come?
For sure. For sure. It's a nice little nest, you know, it hides away, but I'm sure, you know, it's pretty vulnerable, you know what I mean? As far as like, there's no big steel gates protecting the crib or anything.
True, yeah. Zombies.
So we'll still have to be on point. We'll still have to check it out.
How do you think the world's going to end, Wes? This is not where I wanted to take the podcast, but if apocalypse happened, what do you think's causing it?
Well, I don't know. I guess the thing that everyone says these days is like the nuclear thing, right? But that would just, you know, I'm not too vested in all of that kind of jargon and the backside of like what may or may not be happening. But, you know, something like that, or like basically just the earth kind of reacting to us, you know, the earth just having its cycle and doing its thing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I see it, because nature, you know, way stronger than us and unpredictable, you know.
We're pretty fragile. It's pretty crazy. I think about like a solar flare could like really ruin us, or just shit that we can't control at all, like a meteor coming. I just saw a video the other day of like somewhere in Europe, a meteor like crossed our atmosphere and you could see it, and it's just a flaming fireball going across the sky, and I'm like, wow, dude, that's so But anyways,
yeah
this just came out.
Hey, there it is.
Dig's 2022 magazine. I'm pretty hyped on that. Look at us go. Look at us.
There's Reed, baby.
Did you happen to shoot that photo of Reed?
I did, yeah.
How much of this magazine do you think you shot, percentage-wise? Because you are officially Dig staff photographer, yes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, probably just like, you know, 7%.
That's a good amount of percent, dude. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's a couple articles in there, and you know, and there are a couple other little pieces in the background here and there, you know.
How does it come to be? Like, are they directing it, or you come? Like, what's it like working for Dig? That's what I mean by we're on the same team. For those listening, Wes and I go way back. We were on Stranger together. 8, 9, 10. How long? It's a decade ago, at least. Anyway. But what's it like for putting? Sorry, I'm jumping around. I'm just excited to see you.
Me too. I jump around.
Tell me about what like the process of what it's like working for Dig.
Well, it's rad. You know what I mean? It's something I didn't ever think would actually come about, in the sense like, you know, back in the day when I was young and stuff. Like Dig was something that I saw like tattooed on people, like my homies that were much older, like in college and stuff when I was in high school. Like the dudes that were, you know, sending it, like, you know, notable names like, you know, Vidal Vigil and like Gil Montoya, all from Albuquerque, like Dorian Blanco and Sam Miller, you know, stuff like that. Like, you know, a couple of them had tattoos like that, and like seeing the magazines around their house. But it was something, you know, because it was kind of hard to find, I guess, in comparison to like how Transworld was.
Right.
You could
Yeah.
go into Barnes and Noble and like Hastings, and find Transworld on the shelves, but not necessarily Dig. So it seemed kind of unfathomable, as like a photographer when I started getting into like wanting to be a photographer, as like pushing it to that point, teaching myself how to like actually shoot for like a print, for print quality,
Yeah.
something that can be printed. So I've had a lot of help with that along the way, but
Dream come true. Or
yeah,
not even
it's
dream because you
yeah.
didn't think it was possible. That's rad.
Well, I was working towards it for sure, but as far as like the dig, tattoo on my soul at this point in time, yeah, that was, because I was just, I didn't like look at one way better, one way being better than the other, like Transworld or Dig or BMX Plus or anything like that, but Transworld was more real, more obtainable because California was right there, being from New Mexico, and like, yeah, just like my communications with like Fat Tony in the beginning and like Jeff Z eventually,
I remember Fat Tony.
yeah, him and Z were the first ones that I sent like folders of photos to, and they were just like, bro, like what is going on here? They're like, these fucking, they're like, what's happening with these pictures? Like I had borders on them and they were like size completely wrong for any kind of print, or like they're all small JPEGs and shit. So they taught me how to, via online, just taught me like, how to size stuff properly. And then through all those things of studying photographs, like it finally clicked on how to keep things like, where they need to be like scalable for printing stuff,
Yeah.
instead of just like slapping it on the internet or
What
whatever.
does that mean? Explain it to me like I'm 5. Like what so instead of sending a JPEG with a border, what is the file type that you send over? Are you sending the raw? Is it a vector?
No, just like for, for a regular photo for print, it would just be like a TIFF file for me,
Okay.
because I shoot Nikon stuff. So it's like traditionally a Nikon electronic file is what it is. And then when I process it, it's just a TIFF. And, my files today are like 150 megabytes or something. So, it's a large file. So it looks good, if I shoot it
Yeah.
properly. It could be blown up pretty large. So,
That's huge for a photo. Like a JPEG would be
mhm.
8 megabytes, right? It's way smaller.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into what it's like working for Dig, how did it start? I mean, fuck, dude. Let's just go back to the beginning. What, like, your beginning of your photography career, at least, like, because writing is a different thing too. They went hand in hand, and I'm curious what. So you sent photos to Fat Tony and Jeff Z. They teach you how to get it ready for print. Then what happens as far as your photography career?
Well, with photography, I guess it starts like well before those emails were sent, But let's see. I was thinking about it, and it was funny because last night I dropped into an old hard drive, and it took me back to like, yeah, 08, 09, 2010 and stuff. But it essentially started, like my uncle taught me how to shoot photos like right before I got into high school. Like I got like a film camera. I've always shot Nikon stuff. Um, and I got a little film camera. He took me around and taught me how to drive and stuff. And um,
That's a good uncle.
yeah, yeah. And on that trip, he taught me like, he's an old school photographer as far as he used to shoot, um, back in the 80s, like late 70s and 80s, like a lot of the commercial advertising stuff. Like he assisted on some jobs with like the Marble ads and like the Camel Cool ads and stuff like that. And shot
Sick.
like
That's paper.
yeah, shot like Bob Hope, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bob Hope's got a road here in LA, stuff like that. So he taught me like all the traditional values of like how to shoot film, like just straight up composition and just how to see things and not worry about what the camera's doing. It's like, how you see the world, and then eventually your camera becomes seamless with your vision.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to like figure that out over the years.
So
But yeah,
philosophy and the technical aspect of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so that stuff, like I had a whole bunch of film by the time I got into 10th grade, because like in freshman year of high school, I couldn't be in photo lab. So I just had all this film from riding BMX with all my core friends who I like started riding BMX with, because I used to play soccer and stuff from when I was like 4 years old, all kinds of sports, but I always played soccer up until like I was getting into high school, and I decided not to try out for the high school soccer team against everyone's advice, because I decided to just start hanging out with my other friends who rode BMX, you know,
Yeah.
because there was no coaches or no teams, and I wasn't all like anti, like like giving a middle finger to that soccer thing or whatever, because I loved it. But it was just more so like at that point in time, I just transitioned to being more, I guess, not being told what to do, really, kind of just
Yeah.
trying to learn on my own regard and hanging out with kids that were like out in the world, not just like in at soccer practice and at soccer tournaments and stuff.
Dude, it's dope to think about that little choice in high school, which might seem like not that big of a deal, but it shaped your entire life, like
For
in
sure.
a way.
Because
It's
I was
so
I
sick.
was aiming I was aiming big time to, you know, play professional soccer and football in Europe
Yeah.
and do that whole thing. So it was a big life shift, and I knew it, I felt it, but obviously didn't have any kind of hindsight to what's happening now.
Yeah.
But so so riding BMX with all my boys from like Taylor Ranch back in Albuquerque, New Mexico, fucking where like where Double Ditch Jams at and all that
Yeah.
stuff, Los Altos Skate Park. And so those friends were like, you know Matt Armijo, Mitchell O'Connor, Mikey Chavez, like Marcus Lucero. And Marcus Lucero was my homie who I got, who was the one that I shot the photo of. It's no one probably knows, it's like literally like this big, like 2 by 3 inches or something, in the reader section of Transworld. That was like my first print photo.
Sick.
So that was him. So all those core homies that I used to hang out
When
with.
was this? When was your first? That's huge. To how stoked were you, man, to get in a photo in a
Well,
magazine?
I was hella stoked. It was the reader section, and it was like in the very back, like by the little index or something, and you got your name like in a little contributor page for the index.
Mm-hmm.
So sick. So yeah, it was just a tiny little thing, in that was shot at UNM. That spot's ripped out now, stuff like that. So it's like
Who?
it was a good
That's
monumental
huge,
moment.
dude. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
first
yeah.
person you showed? You show your uncle?
No, I probably showed Marcus. I
Sick.
probably showed my boy Marcus that the first thing
Yeah. That's
right
awesome,
away.
man. When was this? 2007?
Man, I couldn't tell you. Well, probably yeah, because like I graduated in '07. I graduated high school in '07.
Okay.
And so I had a house right after that, right by UNM, right by the university. My sister moved to Texas for the first time and took over her house, and took Nate Richter's old ramp to that house and all kinds of stuff. That place was loose. You've probably been there,
The
but
BMX house.
once upon a time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what was it? Where were we? I just lost my
So
train of thought.
we just got
Talking
published
about the
in
house.
the reader
Yeah.
section,
Yeah, so
and
I live down the street from the university, and me and Marcus, we just, he's my best friend. He's one of my core best friends from back in the day. And we would just pedal down the street. So it was probably like '08, '09, like right after high school. We just pedal down and shoot stuff all the time.
yeah,
I just bought a new lens from Kurt's Camera Corral on Central, and just like,
sick.
all that stuff. So I shot with that new lens. It was the coolest thing I've ever done, sent
Yeah.
it in and it worked. It was sick.
That's a dope
Yeah.
first step, dude. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and then other like, when did it become a job, BMX? Because I mean, now thinking back, this 2023. You got published in 2007 or 8. You've been a published photographer for
9.
15, 14 years. That's wild. How did it progress after that? Like what happens next?
Well, it was just holding it down in Albuquerque for a long time,
Yep.
with because Double Ditch Jam was super strong.
It's huge.
Super strong. And Nate Richter, just we did everything together pretty much, me, him, and all the boys from there,
Yeah.
like Alex Gonzalez, he's always been around killing it.
Yep. Danimal.
Yeah, Danimal Pedersen for sure.
Love Danimal.
Fuck all the boys. So
I got some really cool clips of Danimal for the next mediocre video. I'm hyped.
nice.
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
the
not a
best.
sleeper, but those clips sleep, and he's the man. They're
Yeah.
timeless.
For real.
hmm
What is it? What was your favorite memory from back then? I guess Double Ditch Jam, or like when you say hold it down, what does that
Well,
mean?
yeah. Well, we just did our thing there because Nate was always filming videos. He had his
Oh,
VX and stuff. Um, our boy Adam Deemer was making videos like Roll Mexican. Those old DVDs are super sick. You know,
yeah.
those are like core scene videos that show like really what was going down in Albuquerque. You know, and it's really cool. And so Nate and all them, like I aspired like through high school to like like ride with those guys because I knew like in photography like is me and all my friends like they taught me how to like while they were learning tricks like I was learning how to shoot that trick. I never
Yeah.
shot the trick before, so I'm like what's happening. So I give it up to all my boys who were progressing. We were just progressing in the same time,
Yeah.
with photography and bike riding. So we were just doing
Symbiotic.
doing our thing there, and never really thought to like really go anywhere else like as far as live anywhere else until I guess I was 22 or 23. But so we just did our thing, went to Interbike a whole bunch, you
God,
know.
I miss Interbike, dude. I was just thinking
Yeah,
about that yesterday.
go to Arizona, hang out, Clay and Robbie and Zuka and everyone down there, you
Yeah.
know. And so it's just a thing. Just the Southwest is where it was at, and that's just what was happening. And then when it turned into like, we're all over 21 and just kind of like, the scene was changing a whole lot, and like Nate definitely had his connections in California as far as him eager to go out there. And the reason why we went out to California was Chris Mortensen got a job with Quentin. He was like the photographer and like TM pretty much
Yeah.
for the BMX portion of Quentin when they started. So like I was living in downtown Albuquerque with my girlfriend and like a couple cats and totally chilling. And Nate just kind of, you know, told me like one week, "Oh, I'm moving to California. Like, you definitely come with me. Like, we're going to California." And I'm like, "Nate, I can't leave my life here. What are you talking about?" And literally pulled up and like I got in the car and went like a couple weeks later. And it started my relationship back and forth between California and New Mexico, and you know, just started off doing that.
That's
And
so dope.
yeah.
Especially just getting that pull from Nate. I feel like Nate's got that
Hmm.
energy of just like, we're gonna do this, and he's
Hmm.
hungry for it, and I love that. Do you
Yeah, and he
think you
doesn't
would
really
have moved out there if it
hold back
wasn't
at
for
all.
him? Yeah, I don't think he holds back at all. And now I see what he's doing
um
now with the food shit on TikTok, and I'm like, go Nate,
yeah.
dude. He's
Well, like
killing
with
it.
his ambition and stuff, though, he can't stop that boy.
You can't
He's on
stop
it.
him. Yeah.
Mm-mm. I'm about it. And yeah, he is a big reason, because he kind of like, like I'm kind of my personality is a little timid sometimes. So Nate can kind of, push me. He would always like push me to do like shit on my bike because he was filming, he had the VX, the depth lens. And I was
Yeah.
like, so he'd push me to do stuff I've never done before. So,
That's
he
what's
does
up.
that, in my life all the time.
We all need that, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're going back and forth between LA and Albuquerque. Are you selling photos at this point? I remember back in those days, I was selling videos to like Vital and ESPN, and I can't believe I can say that I sold videos to ESPN. Were you selling? Because that was a period of time where I don't, I don't know. There was money for web videos, not so much anymore. If if I'm not mistaken. But what was your? I guess did you ever get an official job, or was it all gigs? When did you become a business as a photographer?
Well, um, I guess it's kind of just been like I've always just been trying to get in there, right?
Yeah.
So doing everything, I've always been offering my photos to ride throughout time. So just getting stuff in the focus section and everything. So as far as getting paid, like my first paid jobs, like I guess, yeah, I'm like, I guess besides anything that's kind of fleeting to my memory right now, the one main job that I give a lot of credit to, like Ronnie Bonner, Shadow and Sabrosa, same like they've worked with you, we worked together.
Yeah.
They Ronnie called me one day and was just like, "Hey man," or yeah, was it Ronnie? Yeah, he called me one day and he was like, "Hey man, I don't know how the connection was made, but he got
It's a
my phone
pretty good
number."
Ronnie impression right there.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey man, like I really like your stuff. Like, I don't know how you've seen it or whatever. I think this might have been like just at the start of Instagram or something. Maybe I don't know what it was. Probably anyways. Um, yeah, and he just threw me on a team trip that they used to do.
Yeah.
They used to do like one or two team trips a year with both squads. And So it was just like a paid gig, you know, $1,000. He was like, come out, do this thing. And because someone else who he offered it to couldn't do it. And that person who I'll just like leave out of here, but he's my boy. Thank you for that opportunity. You know who you are. And
I
and so,
want to
you know,
know.
that happened. And basically I just like, you know, went on the trip. I think the first one was in Arizona. Went down to Phoenix. I drove down there. I just hung out in the house for like what, 10, 12 days
Yeah, that's
and
usually
just
how
did
long
the
the trips are.
thing,
Yeah.
grabbing my jacket. Um, but yeah, so that was like my first opportunity is that I can remember. And if anyone can correct me, I'm sorry. But yeah, that I was like, oh my God, dude, yeah, I'll definitely do that. So I got a little per diem, got, you know, $1,000. And that started like my 2 or 3 year relationship with working like pretty much strictly with them as far as going on their trips and
Yeah.
producing all the content and stuff.
Do you remember who was filming the first trip that you got paid to be there? Was it me or Chadwick or somebody before that? Like I think before Chadwick and I, it was Miles and yeah, Miles for
Yeah.
Sabrosa at least.
Yeah, it was never Miles. I think it might have been you because Arnaud was on the trip. I don't know, man. I can't remember honestly.
It's hard to remember
That's kind of weird. Yeah, I
those old
can't remember
trips.
that.
Yeah.
It's weird. Hmm.
Just looking at you, I'm getting like flashbacks of being with you and on a trip in Albuquerque. Like, I, it's so wild. We've done a lot of shit together.
Yeah, we did that Sabrosa Albuquerque trip.
Yeah, one of my favorite
Yeah.
memories was working for them, dude. That was
Hmm.
fire. You were
Yeah.
the best spot guide, and yeah, that shit was rad. And photographer, just working with you is a breeze. It's crazy how like because you can tell somebody who has been doing it for the love of the game, and they like you are literally laying on the floor for hours at a time waiting for somebody to land a trick and down for whatever, and have some drinks at night and get back up and do it in the morning, dude.
Well, yeah, because I definitely, you know, yeah, I just, you know, I always rode bikes first, you know,
Yeah,
and photography. I always wanted to ride BMX, like as a, you know, I wanted to do that shit because like I'm not very competitive, like on the outside or like really even competitive at all. But like I, you know, I played sports and shit, so like,
you want to be the best that you can
I'll be
be.
fucking good at what I do. I would try to
Yeah.
be good at try to be good at it. But you know, I've always been goofy footed, been shit footed, you know,
Yeah.
so feel like it's, you know, it hasn't hindered me by any means, but I feel like, you know, things be different
Things might be different
for
if I
me, like
rode
learning
regular
shit and all
footed.
that or whatever. I guess I'm artistic, so my brain doesn't work right.
No,
Change
dude,
my
so
feet.
many. It's almost an advantage. I talk to people who are shit footed all the time. And I'm like, yeah, it like for
No, I love
grinds
it.
and spinning out, it's beautiful.
And especially these days, it doesn't even matter because it's all about being ambidextrous anyways,
Yeah, for real.
you know? So that
um,
doesn't even mean anything.
let's stay on riding for a second. We'll get back to photography and the road that led you to dig. But I am curious. I wrote down. I want to know what your favorite memory riding is and your favorite clip that you've ever done because you've done some big shit. West Coast
Hmm.
hard. I don't know if you guys know. West Coast hard.
I think, um, well, there's a double went. I don't know. There's a couple that come to mind. And one is in Arizona, which was kind of like, you know, this is me kind of in my whole like, well, I don't know if I'm really like, you know, going to be fucking trying to push it riding anymore or anything. And I guess it's not that crazy, but it was at the Street Fighter Jam in Phoenix. And it was that crazy long loading dock to Gap
Got
ice
to
pick
ice.
that was like this
Dude,
long.
yes. I have that clip. That's
So
so
that was,
good. Yeah.
and that's like the pressure of my friends, you know, like
Yes.
Nate, you know what I mean? Specifically, all
Yep.
he has to do is look at me and give me that fucking little head shake. He's like, you should, you know? So then, yeah, that was cool.
That
But
was epic.
the one, I guess the one thing was like riding that big, I shot a photo of Z and it was my first photo as a bike rider in Trans World, but it was like a big, hubba, like huge, like kind of like shoulder height as it starts. And it's not very steep. It's just mellow and it's just huge. And it's like a 2-story drop, like parking garage or something,
Yeah.
maybe a little taller. And it's one of those things that they built in the town I grew up in, and you just see it and you're like, oh my God, there it is. Like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And, and so, yeah, I just jumped on it one day at like 9 in the morning before Z had to go on a flight.
Nice.
He was there on a 2-hip trip.
Wow, two hip.
The
I haven't
two
heard
hip
that in a minute.
The two hip limo trip, dude, with Ron Wilkerson and people, Wayland, the homie Wayland, the little kid now, his dad, the kid Wayland that's on Stranger, his dad, Wayland Sr., was on that trip,
No
staying at my
shit.
house in Albuquerque, sleeping on the floor. It was beautiful.
Two hip limo trip. I don't think I've ever seen that video. That's why I want to look it up. Is that what
You
the clip
know?
is in? Two hip limo trip.
No,
And
no,
was it
man.
filmed or just a photo?
We filmed it. It's I filmed it.
Where can I watch it?
Couple tripods.
I feel like
Dude,
I've seen it, but
I think it was in my Stranger Welcome to Stranger promo, dude.
ooh, all
I
right,
think so. I have the video. I actually, like I said earlier, the hard drive I went through last night found
yeah,
some gems. I found some
hell yeah,
gems, including that video.
sick.
So
How
that was cool. Yeah, first
that's
photo in the
very cool.
magazine. Mhm.
Any other tricks that stick out in your mind?
Mhm. It's funny. I never really did too many tricks. I just go fast and
Setups.
jump far and do wall
Yeah,
rides and stuff.
yeah.
Let's see. I loved Mike Aiken, so I just go really fast. I was shit footed, and I
Yep.
spin to the left,
Yep.
haul ass in 180, bro.
I love it.
Yeah.
Was Stranger your first sponsor?
My I guess I would say my one and only,
One and
besides,
only.
my current support systems that keep me, doing my
Yeah.
thing, keeping my bike looking nice.
How did you get with Stranger? You were on
Uh,
it before me and Ballman got on it, I believe.
yeah, I guess it was like the V2, version 2. I don't know how many versions there actually are, but it was like when it was dead for a while, and then Z, when I did that thing that I just mentioned, that big Hubba tire ride or whatever, he shot
Hmm.
it. Z's super stoked. Like when you get a good thumbs up from Jeff,
Yeah.
before you do something, and he's like gives you the thumbs up, you're just like fuck, you're like, you got to do it. So that what was it? Where'd I go again? What were we doing?
How'd you get on Stranger?
Yeah, it was that limo trip when he was in town. He was like, told me like, oh man, my homie Rich, I was like, he's starting the company again or whatever, see if he can get you a bike. And I was like, Rich Hirsch. I was like, oh shit, like low tech and shit. I'm like, damn. I'm like, all right.
Damn.
I'm like, that sounds cool, So it was like that was basically it. But you know, no shit talking or anything. It just didn't go anywhere. As far as like,
Yeah.
I went on some trips and did the thing, but I
Yep.
knew that it was just another situation for me to get closer to just more people to ride BMX, because I always offered my photos over riding. I wasn't ever really trying to. Well, I'd go on a riding trip if I was invited to ride for sure,
Yeah.
like I was on Stranger. But I was like, oh, I'll just shoot all the photos too.
Yep. It's fire.
So
It's a good thing to
eventually,
be able to do is do both. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
eventually.
yeah. Oh no. But that's the truth. That's what I was gonna say. Eventually, like it just came to this thing in my mind where I was like, well, if I want to make like an impact and like try to like offer something to BMX, that's I guess it wouldn't necessarily be my riding. It
Okay.
would try to be my photography, in the sense of like, if someone's, I like to support the homies doing some crazy shit, to be behind them,
Yep.
to make it like either a 2-piece or a three piece if it's being filmed or whatever,
Yeah.
and just get it done, because they're doing way crazier shit than I would do. And if I want to step up to something myself, that's something. But as far as getting, stuff that ends up, in the magazine, something that's like, kind of, I don't know, because when I grew up doing the thing, like if you had your boys sitting there, everyone's stoked, and like it's going to be a picture, it's going to be a clip, it kind of, might give you that extra couple percent you need to actually fucking just pull the trigger and black out and do the thing.
Yeah. That is what it is, dude. You turn your brain
Yeah.
off and just go. Okay. So that's our little writing segue. Let's get back to your photography career. Were you ever on staff? So you worked for Sabrosa and Shadow. It was just per trip, right? Or was it
Yeah.
like a job?
No, yeah, it was per trip, and pretty much, yeah. But I just, we would just produce so much stuff together, and I felt really like a part of the team. Like Ronnie definitely makes me feel part of the family.
Yeah.
And sure,
Yeah.
everybody over there, and that was a cool thing, because like being able to be in touch with people like Simone and Jarice.
So sick.
Jarice is like turned into such a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Since he's been living in the States for years, we've been hanging out between Austin, California,
Dope.
and so like exposure to just like those badasses like LaShawn. LaShawn's been my friend ever since then.
Yep.
Wong, of course, fucking classic.
Yes.
He's actually doing a lot of he's building a custom motorcycle for me right now.
Sick.
He's been
Hell
working
yeah.
on it for years. Like
Nice.
because it's like I'm just so slow paced with everything. But dude, he pretty much built the thing from the ground up.
Amazing.
That's a whole nother story in itself. The thing's super sick.
Yeah, Wong's story is awesome. How he's just kind of channeled everything into this motorcycle shit and being a dad, and I'm so stoked on
Yeah,
Wong's life, man. Happy for
yeah.
him.
And the bike is just it's like so that relationship, from bike riding created that. Like it's been kind of like I never really like had big money to throw down on like getting a fucking motorcycle, and I don't really want to buy a brand new one.
Yeah.
It's like a BMX bike, it's like I want to build it.
Yeah.
So Wong did exactly that. It's like a BMX bike, but
That's
it's got a
sick.
motor.
What
But it's
kind
got a
of
motor on it.
I know there's like genres of motorcycles. I remember my boy Cleon, Cleon, I think. He started getting into motorcycles too, and I think it was called a cafe racer. It's like a certain
Yeah.
genre of
hmm
bike. What kind of bike are you getting?
Well, it started out as it's like a Sportster, but it's a chop. We chopped it, so it's like a chopper. And
Sportster chopper. I want to see it.
yeah, well,
What
it's
is it?
like it started out as it's not on Instagram or anything, but
What style of bike could I put in Google Images to see?
it's like you put in a chopper, but it's a Sportster because it was broken down from a 1988 Harley Sportster, like an original Harley, but it was a soft tail, which is like there's shocks in the back. So what we did was we used everything on the bike we could, but we took out the frame and got a solid tail frame, so there's no shocks in the rear, and
Okay.
kept the same motor, kept the same wheels. He powder coated the wheels, new tires,
Something like this.
and
Can you see me sharing my screen?
yeah, it's yeah, that's more or less what it started as, but it was like a kind of more of a just had more stuff on it. But yeah, that's basically what it was. Just
That's dope.
like a stock Harley,
Yeah. And then he's customizing it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
So,
rad.
bend get a raised fork. So the forks drag. That's what makes it a chopper, whatever. Got bars sized to me. And he custom did all the stuff, built the oil box,
I
made
didn't.
sure it all fit proper, did all the wiring. It's a beautiful thing.
He's a technician. That is a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
what makes a bike a chopper is the fork being out like that.
Well,
And
yeah,
what
you would yeah, it's more or less just like chopping a bike down from what it is and making it more like just
I've never
chopper. So yeah,
understood like
it's
what a chopper
kind of
is.
just like the lean back, kind of like like ape bars kind of thing. Fucking
Okay. And then what makes something a Sportster?
more just like I don't know. I guess it's just like because a cafe racer is more like a straight bar, kind of like low speed kind of thing, kind of like and
Yeah.
a Sportster is something that's like I guess would be a higher CC that's kind of built for speed more, built for like you know
So it has to do with
not
the
net
engine.
yeah, definitely, yeah, for sure.
Cool. I learn
Yeah.
something new every day, dude. That's dope. Photography. We were talking about Sabrosa trips, then we started talking about Wong, but
hmm
what did you end up working for any other magazines? I feel like your career has happened during the period of time where like magazines were the shit in 2005, 2006, then the internet comes along and poops all over the industry, and like it's rare to work for a magazine exclusively, and they're adapting to the digital age. What what comes after your seasons with Sabrosa and Shadow?
Well, that's kind of when life starts to get all like kind of crisscross and hodgepodge. But because let's see, because so when I started going out to California with Nate and Chris, that was like there's another chapter there because like Morgan Long, Evan Fisher, Forrest Hawk, like those guys, Josh Delcourt at the Cement Face House, they gave me a place to stay as long as well as Adam 22 did at the TCU house in
Yeah.
off Stanley and shit, like because of Nate. So that's why I brought that up earlier. Was Nate's connections and stuff, was the ability for me to like not have to move out there, like necessarily sleep in a car that I didn't, have at the time to live in, and like all
Yeah.
that stuff. I had access to people,
Yep.
but between that time, so that kind of started it all, as far as like, I shot some stuff for dance comp, like because Stu Johnson would hit me up to do
Sick.
some dance comp trips, and like they came to Albuquerque once, and it was cool. Like I've had a couple covers of those soft, catalogs back in the day,
Yeah.
things like that. And so
That's dope. How
yeah, it was a
what do
bunch of
you
freelance, just back and forth, trying to just like work with people and stuff, because I was available. I was always
yeah.
around.
And
Yeah.
Dance Comp, I feel like, had the money. How much would they pay for a cover shot? Is there more money for a cover shot than there is like inside the magazine, or they just buy the photo from you and they decide what to do with it later? How does it work selling
Well,
photos to a magazine back in the day, or a catalog in this
well,
case?
well, Dan's comp specifically, like they didn't really run like inside the magazine, was just ads that companies already had.
Okay.
At like companies back in the day would run their own ad in dance comp, and I'm sure they'd pay separately for that. So
Yeah.
the cover was just like, dance comp paid real well, as far as I knew. Like the homies were always trying to get like, wear their dance comp shirt, like
Yeah.
get their compensation, I guess.
Yeah.
But and it was good because that was dope. Like people, that's obviously the industry does its thing, but
It sure does. Pause.
we're back.
And we're back. The industry does its
Wow.
thing.
Wow. I'm so sorry. Someone called me. I guess I got to put my phone on do not disturb. But yeah, let's see, where was I? Back and forth.
Dance Comp, and then the industry
Yeah.
does its thing.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying they
Meaning
paid
goes
really
up and
well.
down.
Yeah, because I was just saying how the homies were always wearing their dance comp shirts and stuff, and like I was
Yeah.
around Tony Nyer and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
Dude, Tony's a savage. It's crazy. I just saw
yeah,
somebody posted, whether it was him or somebody else, his crazy hanger that he did in Europe down like a 15 stair white rail. Just, dude, and he's a
on
big
that orange
man,
bike.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's a hesher, and that was like, yeah, Tony was always like a serious situation if you got to shoot with that guy,
Yeah,
And so that was really
doing
that was
some
one
big
of the
shit.
things. But yeah, so I shot stuff with him one day. Like one day I shot Tony, Morgan Long, and maybe a couple photos of Tony. And I sold them all to dance, like 3 or 4, I think, like $500 a piece they'd give me for a photo.
Sick.
And I sold 3 of them, so I made $1,500 off 3 photos in a day, and that was super sick. And they were
That's
filming
super
for the
sick.
for the
Yeah.
dance comp DVD. And that one dance comp DVD, I have like I have photos. I think Devin Smiley is on it. I have a cover of it or whatever, like that inside art.
That's dope.
So that yeah.
What's it called when a
that
writer
kind
gets
of stuff.
paid for wearing a shirt in a photo mag? It's photo contingency. That's what it is, right?
Contingency. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Not so much
Yeah.
anymore, huh? I don't know if that's a thing. Is that a thing?
I have
And
no idea.
how is it adapted to the Instagram world? Basically, it's fucking things
Yeah.
have done changed.
Mhm.
Did you have any connections with Dig during this period of time, or like this is just slowly growing your presence? I don't know. I feel like you're at the legend status now, Wes. If after doing it for 15 years, that'll happen. Yeah. When did you ever work for Ride?
Well, yeah. So like, I guess where before the phone cut out, or before I cut that off there, when I was talking about dance comp and all that stuff, like I was just kind of going back and forth, and what really got me to move to California, where I was like pretty obsessed. Like I had my girlfriend of 5 years in Albuquerque still, and she was in full support and all that.
That's good.
And I was pretty obsessed with getting this job with Ride and what it was, but it was a video production job. And that was when Andrew Brady was around. And that's when like, they knew the internet thing was happening, but no one really wanted to believe it, especially magazines for a point in time.
Yeah.
Everybody is like, it was a complete switch. And, we kind of all know how that went,
Yeah.
but, so like, yeah, I just, back and forth. And since I didn't necessarily want to do video production stuff, but I wanted to, I was like, I just want to work for fucking an entity. I want to do something. I want to put all this effort towards something.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they were trying me out a little bit. Z really liked me. He's always been an awesome support system for me, a good friend. We've ridden together, all the things. I love it. And so he invited me out to Interbike one year to do videos of like when you go booth to booth and be like, find the guy running the booth, be like, yo, man, you
Yeah,
want
I
to like
remember those videos,
talk
dude.
about
Yeah.
your part. Like, what's good? Like, what's the dopest stuff out right now?
Yeah.
And,
What's up?
and so
Welcome to the 2013 Interbike. We're here at the Shadow booth,
it's
and our new products
crazy,
for this year are blah blah blah. Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
when so many bike companies were just doing it. And Interbike was so huge. And then the BMX section was like this little
Yeah.
corner,
Yep.
but it was so dope. Like all the people were there. It was so much fun, especially Nora Cup and all that.
Yeah.
So I remember filming like 30 some videos in like 1 or 2 days,
That's a lot.
and like doing them all right there in the lab and all that stuff.
I think
I
I
still
might
have
have
a
been
I
there
still
and seen you doing that. That's wild to think
yeah,
about. Yeah.
yeah. And I still have this bag. It's actually right here, a Chrome bag that I got gifted from Chrome inside the little media thing. They gave me all kinds of stuff and I still have it. The bag's badass. That was so
Sick.
over 10 years ago.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, super sick.
So, did you end up taking the job then? Was that like a tryout, and then you? 'Cause I
Well,
do remember you making videos for Ride, but what happens next?
yeah. I guess I never really yeah, I don't know. I think it just came down to, Andrew Brady, because he was doing the thing, I think, and I don't know if my timeline's off, but he was doing all that stuff in Chicago, like with the bakery, I think. I don't know if the bakery
Oh
came
yeah,
after. I don't know if the bakery came after he went back to Chicago after he stopped working for Transworld or not, but he was always connected up there in
yeah.
Chicago and stuff in Illinois. And as far as I know, um, Tony Maloof would correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, so he got that job, and so I was like, all right, word, like I'm just gonna keep doing my thing and focusing on what my little business endeavors and stuff I was trying to wrap my mind around, keep my relationship, and still try to like become functional in BMX because I knew I wasn't gonna like get sponsored and start traveling, being paid. Not like it couldn't have happened, but it was like more realistic, like I said earlier, to share my um, values otherwhere, other
Right.
places like
Yeah.
photography.
Provide value as a photographer. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, one day, kind of like, after I live in Long Beach, after I get out of the TCU house, I'm living in my own house with like Nate, Richter, Mario, Gorman. Me and Gorman were paying rent. Nate was paying rent. And then we had all of our friends just staying there all the time. We had so many
Sick.
people. It was a 2 bedroom and a full living room, and it was dope. It worked out. And then basically when I decided to move back to New Mexico to like kind of, I don't know, figure my life out, see if I was going to stay with this girl or like just go back to New Mexico.
Had she not
And
come out to live with you in Long Beach? Is-
no,
So you were traveling
no,
back and forth?
yeah, yeah. And,
Okay.
I've always been up to that. I've always been like a good, like, if I got shit to do somewhere, I'm going to do it. And like, if someone's down with me to support me through that, I'm into it,
Hell yeah. Yeah.
and like, let's keep that going. And she was great. You know what I mean? I had a house in New Mexico with her. She lived there with my homie. It was great, you know?
Oh,
So, I got good friends all around. So
yeah. Was this
yeah.
place where you guys lived the Six? Was that at the Six or no?
No, this was in Signal Hill, just up the street from Long Beach.
Okay.
And it's actually a famous spot that I believe young Denham Cox, let's all praise Denham.
For real.
I think he's the one that did it for Monster Mash. It's a huge gap to wall ride. It's a gap to the apartment building from like a covered covered parking garage. And the road that he gaps over, you drive up, and that's the parking lot to our apartment.
No shit. Cool.
Yeah, and I remember we were all lined up one day. Me, Nate, we were going to shoot it. Everybody was going to film it. Brad Sims was up there. He was going to pull the trigger, and Brad,
Yeah.
and he was going to pull the fucking trigger when he rode for, oh my god, that Australian company, the set.
Yeah.
Nate had like a little U.S. mail order running out of the apartment for the set for a little
Nice.
while, and Brad was staying at the house. But yeah, Brad was about to do it, dude. Pull the trigger, and then of course, who comes home? The landlord, because he lived in the building. Literally, as Brad like gives us word up, I'm gonna like wind up, turn around and do it. The
Yeah.
guy just drives up the driveway. The
Shit.
landlord, so we had to bail on that. And then Denim did it for Monster Mash, I'm pretty sure.
That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Brad's mad. Brad doesn't seem like he gets
Brad ain't
mad,
mad,
dude.
bro.
Yeah,
Brad
he
ain't
doesn't.
mad.
Brad ain't mad.
No, no, no. Oh, this door just creeped in, made a nice little composition there.
Yeah, we got some diversity, some
Some
imbalance.
lead, oh, some,
Oh,
you know, some
leading
lead-in
lines.
lines.
Yeah.
Some lead-in lines, bro.
Hell yeah.
I guess I could make it that way.
uh, so shit. Where are we? Have we talked to Dig yet?
Oh yeah, no, that was getting there. I'm sorry. We
Okay.
like to, I like to branch off, everybody. I
It's a
branch off.
tree of life, dude.
For sure.
Branch
The tree
off
of my
like your
mind.
hair.
The tree of my mind.
Yes.
But yeah, so like that whole thing was happening, and I was just chilling in New Mexico. I was actually living in a small little town called Taos. It's like a ski valley, big mountain, middle of nowhere, earthship kind of town.
Cool.
And I loved it. It's very beautiful.
Was it near
Spent a couple
the
of,
hot springs that we went to on a Sabrosa trip?
it's there's hot springs in Taos, but those ones are the
Different.
San Antonio. Yeah, they're different
Okay.
ones. Those are in the Jemez
Yeah.
Mountains. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, that was a good time. And yeah, those springs are beautiful. And the greatest thing about New Mexico hot springs is they're all free except for like one resort,
Yeah.
which is worth every penny, I would say.
So badass. I
But
love the hot springs.
but yeah, so I was just living there, dude, at the house, chilling, you know, watching the spring come alive out of the winter and stuff. And I'm just like, kind of tripping a little, you know, didn't get the trans world thing. I'm like, what do I do? You know, I'm like, all my boys are in California, like BMX is in California for me at
Yeah.
that point. I was like, fuck. And I think because of Ronnie, because of my work through Shadow and Sabrosa and that exposure, I'm pretty sure Fred Murray called me. I don't think it was Will. It was one of the two. Because I kind of, like blacked out. I was like, who's
Yeah.
this? I'm like, from what? Because like they definitely called me or they emailed me or something, but we got on the phone. And they're like, yeah, man, like we really like your stuff, like yeah, like we want, you know what I mean? You want to be part of the vibe, you want to be part of the crew. And I was like, what? I'm like, Dig Magazine. I'm like, what? So yeah, so that like was kind of like my saving grace in the sense of like I had something to push towards
Yeah.
besides just having a full bag riding street all the time with everybody anywhere I could go on my own accord. It was great to have an outlet for images and to start like doing projects and kind of
Yeah.
having like an impact,
Yeah. Exactly.
I guess, after everything I can say the impact of it,
Yeah.
yeah. So
What's the first assignment with Dig? And I can totally agree with how chill Fred and Will are. It's so low key and just homie shit. It feels like
well,
yeah.
and now I digress. It might have been Andrew White actually that
Okay.
called me, but one of those three gangsters, called me, and I was like, oh shit. And so, and I don't know if this job came before or after that phone call. That's why I bring up Andrew White. But one day, because I met Andrew at Interbike, and Interbike happened in like September. So come, I think, January or something, I think before Dig stopped, or before Dig started printing only one magazine a year, it was coming out to like maybe 2 or 3.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But before that, Andrew White hit me up to do an assignment because he was too busy to do it. And it was, damn, I wish I had those magazines with me. They're all in storage. But it was to do a portrait for an article of Jason Enns, Brian Castillo, and Keith Mulligan.
Legends.
And yeah, and it was for the my favorite photo article. And forget the issue, but I think it might have been the film Ride Repeat issue that's on the cover. It's like anyways. And so that I was like, damn, that's some nerve-wracking shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And then especially the kind of funny thing about it was because Keith Mulligan was, chief editor at Transworld.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, this, it's kind of looking bad. So maybe that was like right as I got that phone call, or right before, maybe because like Andrew White just hit me up to freelance beforehand.
Yeah.
Maybe that stirred the pot for them to put me on.
The
They see
connection
if I
was
could,
made. Yeah.
yeah, they could see if I think that was right because they were trying to see if I could handle it or if I was like, if I'd pull through or whatever,
Yeah.
see if I had, whatever, do the thing. So that happened. I shot those all in one day. So it was like, drove to meet Jason Enns in West Covina. Jason is my legend. You know what I mean? I used
Yeah.
to, like, my first VHS that I ever bought, first video I ever bought from Fat Tire BMX, Fat Tire Bike Shop in Albuquerque was Etnies Forward. Besides all the ones I'd watch with my homies and stuff, were the one I actually spent my like allowance on, which was
Yeah.
like I think $18.
Boom.
I still
Yeah.
have that video. I still have it. I saw it
Sick.
yesterday. I was in storage. I saw it yesterday.
Love that.
So yeah, so Jason Enns, and then drove to Keith's house and drove to wherever Volume was at the time. Went to the warehouse and shot Brian Castillo.
Yeah. What was
It was
it?
cool.
What,
It
what
was
did that
cool.
feel like, dude? Think like going from legend to legend to legend, shooting. You were shooting portraits, not writing photos,
Yeah,
just portraits.
exactly. And that was the crazy thing too, because I was like, oh man, like writing's nice because it's kind of like that's my personality with photography. And maybe I make it so because I say it so much, but like I like the relationship of having somebody focusing on what they're doing,
Yeah.
and not worried about like, this portrait
You don't have to
interaction.
tell
Like,
them. You're not directing the writing.
because people are really good at that, and I can do it too. But it's like, like Chris Mortensen, that guy inspires me. He's such a great portrait photographer, and
Yeah.
it just his personality makes the portrait great because it brings life out in people. So
He makes
I
me
have a
so
little.
happy being around Morty, dude. Morty's
Yeah.
the shit. Love
Yeah.
him.
I actually
Anyway,
talked,
yeah.
I talked to him. I stayed at his house last night. I talked to him every day, but multiple times. But yeah, I was like, damn. I was actually, as I was driving up here to my sister's place, I was like, damn, Chris. It's like I wish I actually would have stayed and did this at your house, because then I could have had, you was my
Yes.
BGP, dude.
Yep.
Be over here. But anyways,
So that's a dope way to get kickstarted in your relationship with Dig, and you pulled it off. What was I mean?
yeah.
And you mentioned that like portraits aren't your favorite thing to do, I guess, but
Well, I like them. I guess I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's just a personality thing. Like
yeah.
I do stuff. You know what I mean? It's probably more internal because it works. Like I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just, I like being able to have like the focus set on a goal and not like, I don't know. It's just interesting. When someone's writing, they're focusing on their trick or they're focusing on the rail.
Yep.
They're not like literally like worried about, hey bro, like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like,
what
hey,
should I
how
do with
should I
my
be?
hands? Yeah.
And that's like a skill,
It
what I mean? To be a
is.
good portrait photographer, it's a skill.
Yeah.
So I guess I just haven't brushed up on that as much as I would like.
Like
is
being
all I'm
a
trying to say.
body director. I feel uncomfortable. I end up doing that for my work now too, and they're like, well, "So how do I stand it?" I'm like, "Frankly, I don't know. Let's just shoot a bunch of shit." Wait, how was it with those three, if you can remember, or in general with portraits? What are some, like, just tell me real quick. What are what's a common thing that you would say that I could tell somebody if they're getting a headshot done or a portrait, like chin up, straight back? Is there something that is like a general
Well,
rule that you can go by?
well, I guess, yeah, you just, you always, depending on, how artistic you want to be, but I guess if you want to be straightforward, you always want, I don't know. It's interesting. People have like real like formulas in how they do stuff, and there's like technical stuff in how you do it, but I don't know. Always want light in the face. Probably if they're wearing a hat, make sure they're like turned and like
Yeah.
slightly, up, chin up a little bit to put light, under the brim of the hat, something
Yeah.
like that. Because working with BMXers and stuff, they
Yeah.
always have hats on
For
and stuff
real.
like that. But yeah, straightforward portrait. It's more about like orchestrating what you see, unless you're just like kind of candidly walking around taking, like, hey, gonna like do your, street photography kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yo, you two are dope. Gonna take your portrait.
Which is a whole
That's one
different
thing, but
thing. Yeah.
yeah. But if you're orchestrating something, it's a vision. People have their quirks and stuff.
Have you
So
been on the receiving end of a portrait shoot? Have you had a photographer like tell you what to do with your face and your hands and all that shit?
no, but probably I did and this is like a fucking dagger. It's like I did like a, what is it? I did like a fake, like a staged wedding shoot, like a staged engagement shoot for my friend who was a photographer. She was building her website, and me and my girlfriend,
Okay. Yeah.
at the time. And you know what I mean? She was like wifey material. So she was like, oh, damn, this is hella cute. We're like looking really great. This is, you know, you should like, what's up? You want to marry me? We've been dating for fucking 4 years. And I'm like, oh shit. So that was kind of the thing, like, you know, I'm fucking dressed up like John Lennon and shit. And I'm like, oh, you know, all flowers in my hair and stuff. And I was like, wow. I'm like, all right,
I need to
you
see
know.
these photos, dude. Who's the
They'd be
photographer?
hard to find. Don't worry about it. They're hard to find.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. They gone.
They're beautiful photographs for sure.
Yeah.
But your boy is looking rare.
Looking rare. He's got flowers in his hair. He's rare.
I'm not scared of any flowers in my hair, mind you, but
How long have you had these dreads? Speaking of your hair, you've had them the entire time I've known you. Have you gone short hair in the past 15 years?
well,
I
it's
don't think
funny
you
is
have.
I was actually talking to people, a couple of my boys at the register at the coffee shop this morning about it. Because what? I don't know what prompted it. Oh yeah, I took my hair down. They're like, "Damn, bro, your hair's long." I guess my hair's never down. I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. And I kind of set it up a little bit. I was like, "Well, it's because I was like last night, bro. It's funny. I went out to the bar or whatever, and the guy didn't let me in because I didn't have my ID." And I was like, "Oh man, you know." I'm like, "Come on, I'm like 33 years old. You know." I'm like, "What the fuck?" And you know, he's doing his job though. I know how it goes. But I told him how it's funny how I haven't had the guts yet to drop the line that I'm like, bro, I'm like, my hair's old enough to drink a beer, bro. Like, let me into the bar.
That's sick.
So my hair, technically, on July 5th, it'll be 21 years old.
Dude, that is wild.
And even longer since I've cut my hair, but 22 years old or 21 years old since I decided to grow dreadlocks.
I think it's like significant. There's something in about carrying all the memories in your hair has been like every cell in your body every 7 years. Look at you, dude. That's crazy. Man, that's wild, dude. I love
A
it.
lot of hair, dude.
Yeah. There's something about like your memories are in your hair. And every 7 years, apparently every cell in your body is like different, but your hair is still there. That hair has been with you for all of this shit that we're talking about.
It's true.
And it's looking fire, dude. You goddamn hippie.
Look at it. Yeah, there we go, dude.
Oh yeah. Is that what you and Jerry's talk about? You guys sit and clean up each other's dreads together?
No, definitely not.
That's wild that it's 20, almost 21
We
years.
we let our friends, you know, we let our girlfriends do that.
Nice.
They take care of our hair for us.
All right, let's stay on photo track because I'm trying to remember what we're talking about too. But so you finish talking with Andrew White, you do these 3 portraits, and then you get an email, Wes at DIGBMX, right?
That's my new email. That's my new email. Yeah.
That's
I
dope.
love that email. That's a great email. I love it.
That is a great email. Submit your photos to Wes at DIGBMX.
For sure. Hit me up. Send your videos. What's up? I'll send them on through. Let's get them online, dude. Come on.
What is your job now?
Well, technically, you know, staff photographer / editor, I believe.
Cool.
And, you know, it's just like, I just do my thing throughout the year. Obviously to support, like, you know, the magazine at the end, I always try to have a solid pieces for that.
Yeah.
You know, I always feel like I can do more and do more insightful things, like especially with like words and like kind of digging a little deeper with people, you know, like Reed this year, we went to Burning Man together. So like
Nice.
he was able to, you know, really express himself in there. And I was able to shoot some stuff there. It was really cool. So like trying to make those things happen more so, but
those are magic moments, man. That's fire.
Yeah.
Tell me about this. You were just last week on a BSD trip. Tell me about that trip. That shit looked really cool.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah, how did it come about? Is it a dig thing or a BSD thing or both? And what are some things that we can look forward to?
I guess it's it's fully a BSD thing. Like Reed wanted to this year do like get more connected, kind of bring it back to bike shops a little more as far as having like some shop stops.
Yeah.
And just spending, you know, so
Texas those kind of disappeared, dude. Shop stops stopped.
It's like, you know, like we were talking about on the trip, like Reed said, you know, I guess say what you will about it, but like, you know, shops support the industry in you know, at large, because if you have a good shop, it's your local scene, it helps kids not even necessarily just buy stuff. Hopefully they buy stuff, because if they're riding, they need to buy stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And support the local scene, and those bike shops support the industry, and it's all like a big, circle of,
It's the entry for a
positive,
lot of
yeah,
kids.
it's a
Yeah.
big circle of motivation, really, because
Yeah.
motivation is what it takes to keep things alive, really,
Yeah.
especially as time goes on. So obviously it's money, the numbers, all the things, but yeah, support your local bike shop, so that's Reed's big statement there. So we went to Ethic Bike Shop in Houston, and spent some days in Houston. Went to Galveston, with Curly Man. Let's see, Grant UB, Denham Reed, and Trent filmed the whole thing.
Sick.
Another
Yep.
dig associate.
My boy.
So we were doing it, and Julian Ortega was around, Brett Silva, Dan
Sick.
Collar, they're all hanging out.
Johnny was there too, just hanging
Yep.
out. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, at least I saw on Instagram at some point. Johnny
Yeah,
Rakes was there.
while we were in Austin, yeah, not in Houston.
Okay, Austin.
But
Yeah.
and then we did Empire Shop Stop on Saturday,
Sick.
on the day before the last day of the trip. So
Good turnouts on all these shop stops.
yeah, and like what we're doing, we're just like, we're basically just showing up. The kids are coming out and just like hang out.
Yeah.
We had some rails and a couple things set up at Ethic in Houston, and at Empire we just kicked it. Just
Yeah.
like it was pretty cold, a little windy before we, because we just started at Empire, and then we went to and in Houston we went on a street ride and everything. So we went to we do the shop stops and go to a skate park, and then do a street ride and
Dope.
stuff like that. So
With
so
the
like
kids from the shop, they come on the street ride.
yeah, if they wanted to,
Nice.
for sure.
I love that.
Yeah. So in Austin, it was a big turnout, obviously, and it was
The
fun. It
scene
was
is
cool.
big there. Yeah.
Yeah, super fun, and just rode around and just gave a good excuse to get loose a little bit on bikes,
Yeah. Was there any
It was
last time? So when I talked to Trent on this podcast, it was before the latest, or I don't know if it's the latest anymore. He mentioned he did the biggest feeble he's ever done in his life, and I think you know which one it is. Like during, I think what was the ride? It wasn't Ride to Glory, but it was a trip where they
No.
had to do challenges.
Ride
and
to
shit.
Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Battle of the Brands.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
did like that feeble, which is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Is there
I
anything?
wasn't there for that, but damn.
Yeah, but you know what it is.
Oh yeah.
So you were on this trip. Is there anything banging that we can look forward to? And then when does the video come out?
Well, I guess what it is roughly, loosely, Reed was saying he kind of saw it as, he wants to do multiple trips throughout the year with the same concept, and they're just going to work on something, whether it be online or a bigger project. I don't know,
Okay.
but they're just filming stuff. Trent's filming for them,
So just stacking clips and then doing maybe a shop stop video or something.
Yeah, and I'm sure Trent will be coming out with some small videos in between and everything to show like.
It's funny you say in between. I see what you did there.
Just trying to slide it in there. You know what I'm saying?
You got to enjoy it.
Let's see here. But yeah, so that was a great time, bro. I always love working for Grant Smith, like hanging out with the boys.
He seems really cool, Grant Smith.
Oh man, he's the best.
Never talked to him, but he seems dope.
Oh, he's the best, dude.
Is that feeble in this magazine? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Come on now.
Tristan Affray. Let's see.
Here it is, baby. This is Tristan's photo, everyone, by the way.
Oh my goodness. The
Look at the size of that
2-page
thing.
spread. Fuck, it looks unreal. It looks fake. And he doesn't have a front peg on, so if it misses his tire, that's so wild, dude. And
Yeah, it's fire.
Tristan killed it. Got
Yeah.
stains.
know
I
the
saw
feeling.
he mentioned that was like his dream setup that he's driven
Mhm,
past a whole
mhm.
bunch of times, man. Talk about a good
Mhm.
dude. Got stains.
Fuck. Yeah, we just hung out with him in Houston too. He hung out with us for quite a while.
Love that guy.
He's my favorite, bro. He's my favorite.
Yeah, he's
I love
fun.
that man. And he's such a meticulous photographer. It makes me happy.
Yeah, he nerds out. Like I heard him talking about timing with the flashes and all this shit, and I was just like, I started zoning out. I was like, that's high level photography shit, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's technical, and I love that.
Yeah.
That has a lot to do with precision is admirable.
It is. And he
Yeah.
like still seems super motivated to keep doing it. Like that's his main job. He does it at Woodward every year, and
Mm-hmm.
freelance here and there and projects. Now he's like on the what's the media company that Chad and Daryl do?
Ah, yeah, I forgot the name of it. I was just talking to
Yeah,
Chad about it the other day.
but yeah, he's constantly working with them on projects. And yeah, shout out to Gutstains, Tristan Afraid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
The one DX.
the one DX. Is
Yeah,
that's his
baby.
Instagram, huh? At the one
Yes,
DX.
sir.
Yeah, go follow Tristan if you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What do I want to go from here? That's the BSD trip. I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
to see
Mm-hmm.
whatever they're stacking for. That's dope. Uh,
Yeah.
I asked you your favorite memory riding, and we went over that. But what's your
Mhm.
favorite photography memory? Like, what's the craziest trick that you've shot a photo of, or maybe I don't know the most challenging spot to get to, or what sticks out? What pops into
Hmm.
your mind photo wise?
Hmm. Let's see. An interesting one. Trying to think of like something super risky or something. Um,
Close calls with police, or just a trick that you didn't
mm,
think was possible?
I know. Wow. I'm like shuffling hard. I'm like trying to figure this out. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of it's like such a, you know, such an interesting like flow state. It's almost like it's an unconscious thing when it's
Yeah.
happening, kind of. But yeah, let's see. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I guess the really scary one was what was it, 2020? We took a road trip, me, Reed, and Tony Maloof and Denham. We all just hopped in Reed's van and we drove from Chicago. They started in Minnesota, but I met up in Chicago and chiseled our way all the way down to Austin. And it was the Grime Safari tour,
Oh, sick. Yeah.
which was in that which was an article in the magazine as well. And I remember like on one of the last days of the trip in Austin, there was a spot I guess that Reed knew about that he really liked, that he really wanted to do this. And it's not out yet. It'll be out soon, but I'm sure. But it was a really gnarly ice pick, like he feebled it or whatever, just to like and he's like, damn, I really want to ice pick it. But it was just one of those things where it's like a drop down grind, and it's on like a huge roof, and it's like he has plastic pegs. It's like a gravel like rooftop kind of sandpaper-ish, and it's like an L, so he drops into it and he has to hop over an L on both sides.
Fuck.
And it was just one of those things to where like to me when I think like when I do an ice sometimes and I don't do it, like I just drop like
Yeah.
it was just like super high risk, and I remember being really nervous like in my
Yeah.
recent years being super nervous about that. And of course Reed laced it,
Of course
but
he did.
he did. He's good.
The man's talented. I'll tell you
He's
that
good.
much. Remember Team Dilly? Were you
Yeah, hell yeah.
Team Dilly it do?
Yeah.
Young
I
Reed.
remember I met some kids that before I ever knew Reed, they came to Albuquerque, met him at Los Altos. They're from Minnesota or something, Michigan. And they were just like, oh, dude, we're riding BMX. We just blah, blah, blah. And they just lived at my house for 2 weeks, just
Nice.
hung out, like
Was
7 guys or something. It's crazy.
was it Team Dilly?
No, but they were like, they were all about Team Dilly because that's like where they were
Oh,
from.
okay, got you. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say that it was Team Dilly by any means, but
I think I got introduced to Dilly from Bink. Do you remember Bink?
I do. I do.
He was sick, free coaster guy. And then
Yeah.
learning about Kyle Stark. And then I think I met Kyle before I ever met Reed. Reed was like the young buck, but you can see Reed is one of those dudes that he has, I don't know, BMX is that man's life, and he travels, and it seems like he's living the dream life. So I'm hyped on Reed. Speaking of Reed,
Yeah.
what was this day like? This is fucked.
He's a hardworking man. He's working the hard working man's life.
Yeah.
Doing a good job. He's doing a good job doing that. But that day was hazy to say the least. But that was the last day of the BSD Colorado trip. That video is going to come out any time now. It's due to come out. We went on that trip in August, and I broke my collarbone. I snapped my collarbone on that trip.
No.
Yeah, we were driving from LA. We stopped in Vegas, and then we were going to Moab, and then we made it to Denver. And so only 2 or 3 days to get to Denver. But before we even get to the Airbnb in Denver, we stopped at this really dope skate park. Ended up not being that fucking cool. and and we're just like, it was, but we end up there just chilling. We ate some food, I had a beer. Colorado has heavy beer.
Yeah.
And I was kind of tired from a drive and just like, whatever, ready to get to the Airbnb. And we were just like, yeah, let's check out the skate park, because we're still like, I think, an hour outside of Denver or something. And Colorado has amazing cement everywhere. So
Yep.
we're chilling, and I just got out of the car. I was like, first one to kind of get on my bike into the park. And I'm just like cruising around. I was literally going to go sit on a bench over by where I could see the park and just watch people ride and just, chill out. And I'm like carving around this bowl, like this kind of mellow snake run left and right. And it's my first time in the park going around. And the bowls can't even be bigger than like 3-4 feet. They're super small. I think this one that got me was maybe 4 or 5, but like I'm just carving, doing the left and the right. And I was about to go over this like roller, like any roller in a cement skate park that I'm used to, like, roll over one side, you should be able to roll over the other side. And there's a fucking like a little overhook coping quarter pipe on the other side of it.
No.
And and I'm already kind of pumping to like pump over it. And I couldn't get out of that like forward momentum because I was going to pump down, and I was just over it. And before I could even think, I just woke up. I was like,
what happened?
I just like woke the fuck up, and it was like Reed just wrapping his shirt around my head, and I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? And I was like bleeding all massive. And I knew right away that this thing was snapped. And I was like, oh fuck. But I like tried to sit up, and that was the first time that I went down in a long time that I haven't been able to like sit up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh fuck, like I'm fucked. And I just laid there I probably went out again or something. But as far as I was concerned, the ambulance got there in like 30 seconds. So I might have been out a little longer.
Yeah.
But, and the boys didn't even see it happen,
Yeah, they just came in and discovered you on the ground, knocked out.
Yeah, like in this little
scary
fucking hole in the ground, dude. It was Magwheel guy. It was Magwheel guy that was like, yo, Reed, get the fuck up, Reed,
Yeah.
And I'm just laying in the bowl, fucking passed out, bleeding from my head. Reed's like, whoa.
Whoa, dude, that's heavy.
Save him, save the boy.
That's so dangerous.
To bring it all home. Yeah, that was the last day of that trip, and I shot that with broken collarbone, like fucking high on pain pills and shit.
Hell yeah. That adds a little bit of story.
Which I did not.
This photo just got even gnarlier,
by the way.
Good for you.
Yeah, but yeah, for real.
So now you guys know. So just so you know, we're talking about the cover of Dig's annual. If you're just listening, the cover of Dig's 2022 magazine is Reed Stark doing a crazy drop in on a sign to Smith. Was it first try?
No.
Remember? Was it all hazy?
No. It just took him a minute to fucking grab the Smith, because it was a short ledge. It was like, and so the drop in is perfect.
Oh
Reed
yeah,
style,
his peg's right, like 1 inch away from
niche.
the edge.
Yeah, and he's crushing it. So yeah, it took a few like sticks, but he definitely dove into it every single time.
What a savage, dude.
Yeah. So that'll be out soon.
He rides shit that nobody else really has an eye for. I remember one trick he did out here in Arizona. It's like, I don't know, just a complex. Maybe you were involved somehow. I don't remember, but just a weird sign, and he grinds it. I'll have to find the clip. Anyway, Reed rides amazing shit, and he's so well rounded.
He gets nichey.
Yeah,
he's nichey. That's what happened. Artist. Like on this trip specifically, we found some super cool niches, and yep,
he got them done. I wonder how much footage does Reed have stacked up, dude?
I don't know. He's pretty good at. I think he's pretty good at coming out with his stuff, because if he's not filming for something like that's like a trip or whatever, he's Instagram guy. So
yeah,
he lets it rip.
I'm excited to see Reed's next part. It sounds like he has some heat.
Yeah,
some heat in the bank.
Yeah, he has that Grime Safari tour that came out. Like Denim had a promo come out from it, a big and I think it came out in 2021, maybe even later. But Reed has a video from that whole trip from the Grime Safari,
and it's not out.
No, it'll surface, I'm sure, this year.
Yeah,
but it's like, yeah, it's fucking sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Reed and Denim on a trip, you're gonna get heat. What was Denim's video called? Is the Grime promo?
Yeah, it's got to be, yeah, because I think it was for either the frame or his bars, but
Yeah. And
um,
those
it
two are
was
savages.
it's got to be the whole bike. Yeah, it's got to be the frame because I remember shooting a bike check on that trip. Like we saw Corey Martinez on that trip. We stayed, we got lost, not lost, but we just like left, reality for a few days in the rivers of Tennessee. Super
Nice.
nice. Yeah,
Super nice.
for Reed's birthday, and the excuse for that trip was to film Reed's 10 years with BSD trip or video. So now he's been on BSD for like 12, 13 years.
That's fucking awesome. It's
So
kind of crazy to think. Yeah. He's
he's
been in
been
the
doing
game
it.
a long time and he keeps
Mm-hmm.
getting better. That's one thing that comes up a lot. It's just like if you stop getting better, you kind of stop being good. If you can stagnate. It happened to me with my writing. I kind of stopped wanting to progress and then lo and behold, like you start not being good. My dad used to say, and now it makes sense that I'm older, but he who stops getting better ceases to be good. And I was like, damn, that applies to pretty much everything. You got to keep going and trying to improve, and
Well,
you
it's
got to
all about
keep it going.
it's all about that classic Outcast quote.
Hit
It
me with
says
it.
it's not about what you're it's what is it? It's not about what you've done, it's what you're gonna do, essentially,
Yeah, for real.
So it's like, what you've done gets you to where you are, but where you're gonna go is what you're doing right now.
Yep. How
So it's
would
just
you?
like,
What are you gonna do? It's not what you've done, legend Wes McGrath. What are you gonna do? What does the future look like for you? Do you have any plans or goals?
yeah. Yeah, essentially just want to keep my life cruising to the effect that I can keep doing BMX the way that I've been doing it. Like, be able to go on trips and have the time to do that while I start, and pursue other business endeavors and things like that to kind of like, forward my life and all those things.
Like what? What other
Um,
business endeavors have you done? I mean, I'm sure you have outside of BMX shoots. Like, and what I mean, have you first of all, and then if so, what are some companies that you've worked for that you're stoked on, or a project that you remember outside of the
well,
BMX world?
well, honestly, I'm pretty strictly just like a bike rider, but I've done a lot of, or a bike, I just shoot bikes for the most part financially, but like, I've worked for, artists, like I work for DJs and stuff.
That's dope.
Shoot a lot of music, time to time.
That's
So
it's got a similar vibe of just travel and
yeah,
what somebody's doing their thing.
not to say I've ever been on a roster to where like, I'm getting flown out and stuff to shoot events. But I do, like, I've worked for festivals and things like that. But
Nice.
it's like, yeah, so primarily like, my 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 main focus these days has been like sound production, audio production, which is like working with, large format sound systems
Yeah.
for festivals and one-off events and clubs and things like
Sick.
that.
How'd you get into that? When did you start learning that shit?
Well, that like it kind of came, it came real naturally, right? Because I've never even learned how to play guitar. I'm not very musically inclined, unfortunately, because my mom is even a piano teacher. She's played piano her whole life, and she's amazing at it. And so it's just interesting. I guess I was just too crazy as a kid for her, like, to let my parents sit me down in a seat. Like a
Yeah.
coach could discipline my ass, but like my parents, they could discipline me too, definitely. But like I would just be like, I just fucking know I can't sit down. I gotta go soccer practice. Wow.
Yeah. High energy
So like,
kid. Yeah.
yeah. So, what was it? Where was I again? I got lost. I like to do that.
How'd you get into audio
Yeah.
technician or sound systems?
It's like I look at it as more as an apprenticeship,
Okay.
in my eyes. But yeah, it happened all naturally because I guess when I came to California, I spent a lot of time in Northern California. When I finally got that phone call from Dig, and some other personal things happened in my life that I decided to leave New Mexico as a young person. Like, I'm out, like fully,
That's a
like no
bold
rent.
move, dude. Not everybody can
Yeah,
do that shit. You
no
just
rent, no
sent it.
girlfriend, just move.
Good for you.
And me and my boy Greg Taylor actually left my house in Taos at the same time together in our cars and went up to Northern California um,
Nice.
together, and that started a whole different life. But
You want to get into that?
where was I again? Where that before I? go off on that?
How it came organically getting into
Yeah.
music sound
So just
systems.
being up top there, my sister had some really good friend groups in their communities and such, and I was able to meet one of her best girlfriends who is from Austin, Texas as well, Lauren. I shot her wedding. I do wedding stuff every once in a while for friends, but and then she got a job with a clothing company that travels with music festivals. That's essentially like a woman's clothing company that like does like form fitting onesies, like a bunch of sexy clothes, you know?
Yeah.
And they were really sought after as far as the clothing brand themselves. So it wasn't too like funky and outside of my like, whoa, like this is kind of like weird, you know? It was great. And it was like, as far as me, who's never been to a music festival of that kind in California,
Yeah.
you know, my sister exposed me to stuff when I was really young in my teenage years and stuff to, you know, big sound system culture stuff. But as far as music festivals, like, whatever, yeah, sure, I'll do that. You know, I'll shoot photos for you girls too. And like, you know, I got paid doing that. So I'd always trying to like, whatever. And then I went to my first music festival here in Southern California. It was a Desert Hearts Music Festival in San Diego. And it blew my mind, you know, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And,
It is crazy.
I was like, so I remember going out to the bars in Long Beach and doing stuff like, you know, after being like officially single, after being with a girl for 5 years. I'm like, well, where's like the culture at, you know, after 1 a.m. at the bar in California, like at that age, it wasn't really like the people I felt like were in California that I felt like I could vibe with, or that I, in my cinematic mind, where are they? Where's all the like the free loving people, or, you know, just like a different energy of people, not like
Yeah.
necessarily free loving, but, um, yeah. And then I found them there and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then so like at night, the big, you know, parties and stuff, I started shooting DJs and being like really into it because I'd be like, damn, I'm making some pretty sick images. And it was new, you know, it was a brand new type of thing
Yeah.
that you can't just like go to. You can't just go to, you can go to a pretty park any day and take pictures of the park or the mountain or whatever. But
Right.
like a party, a thing like that, like utilizing, because I see light, you know, like I shoot at night a lot. I like shooting parties at night because
Yes.
of the way I utilize the light differently than just trying to see everything.
Yeah.
You know, you use the light to like, anyway. So yeah, that
Don't
kind of grew
anyways
in.
that. That's so fucking dope. Having an
Yeah,
eye
and
for
that
light.
grew,
Yeah. Go
yeah, and
on.
that grew into my boy Corey, who actually just called me that flubbed our connection in the first place.
Shout out Corey. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, Corey with a K. He he noticed that I was like working with some DJs out here and stuff since, you know, I was doing the festival circuit for a little bit. And he's the sound engineer that we grew up in the same neighborhood together. The only thing that separated our houses was basically a ditch that I grew up riding in, you know.
Sick.
And he was more of a musically inclined person, more like, you know, just like he's an engineering mind. So he's like, you know, not necessarily riding BMX and stuff. He's doing
Yeah.
other things. And and we didn't really connect or whatever until after high school, when we just like met one day in California. We're like, oh my God, like, yeah, like what's up? That's you, like this is us and whatever. So he hit me up when he got a job offer in California to basically come out from New Mexico to start bringing his sound systems and doing parties for people here in LA.
Dope.
And he was like, I need some help. I see that you're doing that. Like, you know, I can't do this myself. Like, help me pick some heavy shit up. And I was like, all right, word. And then I didn't know anything about a sound system besides like some old stuff that I knew when I was a young teenager, like Jamaican sound systems, like, you know, stacked up on trucks and, you know, dance
Yeah.
hall stuff. And then so when he came and I started doing shows with him, it was all serendipitous. There's a big story to it. This necklace that is right there has a lot to do with it. But yeah, it was all really synchronistic. And like when he started doing those first shows, I was like, wow, bro, this is some shit. I was like, this is some serious, this isn't like any kind of sound I've been around in the LA scene, you know, yet. And I've been here for a few years. I don't know the depths of the scene or who's doing everything or anything like that. But as far as this scene that he's getting, you know, hired to work with, fucking, you know, hands down doesn't sound like this. So
Huh. What do you
we
mean?
started,
What genre are we talking about, and what makes the system special compared to other festivals? Like, what do you mean? The
well,
quality of
there's
it,
a,
the setup
I
of
could,
it, the acoustics. We could talk about it forever, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's just like the fundamentals, you know, how I like to explain it. You know, when it comes to a sound system and the sound industry, from what I know, is that, to put it in metaphor, you can either, you know, have a gyro, you know, a shiny metal slick bike and all the things, all the pegs, all the helmets, all the gears, all the things. Or you can ride 4 pegs, brakeless, and grind a
Okay,
fucking steel
yeah.
peg on a steel handrail. You can go analog, or you can try to, digitize it, make it different, or you can stay with the core fundamentals and actually like stay true to source, which the source is like the sound system just represents true source audio instead
Okay.
of like instead of digitally compressing it and then reinventing the sound wave, which makes it unorganic. It takes it from an organic sense and then it takes it into like steps, a digital step.
Huh.
It has a lot to do with brain frequencies and the way that your ear computes sound to your brain, that you can understand it. So all these different things. So
I
it's like
love that.
it's a frequency, it's a
Yeah.
frequency sound wave
This shit's
molecular kind
real.
of vibe.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Yeah,
that's
dude, I
like
love
what I've been
that.
getting into and shit for the last 5, 6 years.
What genre of music?
It's been a lot of, it's electronic music, but it's been a lot of it's like house and techno music,
Sick.
pretty much. It's like
That's a vibe.
house music is kind of like the new world sound, as far as like you go to a restaurant in LA or go to like a club somewhere, wherever, it's just playing like house music.
Yeah,
Some type
yeah,
of rendition of house music.
yeah. I was just listening earlier to wake up today. I listened to my lo-fi house playlist. I like lo-fi house.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's tight. Um, so what does it mean if you're working as a sound engine or what is it called? Sound engineering?
Yeah,
System
it
setup?
would be sound engineering, yeah, or it'd be just like a sound tech, system tech.
That's super dope, man. And
But
what the metaphor with the bikes is dope too. It's a world I don't understand, but I fucking like
mhm,
that. That's cool.
yeah, and
Uh,
like, and it's just like, and I try to, tell my partner Corey, like, I assimilate the same thing to him, like how to make a metaphor to sound or whatever. But it's like, it's what do I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's like, it's the relationship between, like, so me apprenticing him, it's like a relationship between me and, like, say Reed or like Denim or something, in the sense like, you guys are doing some dope shit and I'm here to support it and I'm here to learn from it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like that same type of like honor system, as far as like I'm learning something, but at the same time, it's up to me to apply it and to
yeah,
understand it, to like move forward or whatever. So it's a cool skill, and it's a mental
for
skill
real.
more than
Yeah,
it's a mental skill more than anything. So that's
that's
the cool
dope.
thing for me, is because I've been always been super visual and super physical with, like, having a tool like a camera. So having a tool like a sound system, it takes more technicalities instead of like a, composition or whatever.
I love that for you, man. Let me know when the next festival is or concert or whatever. I'm coming.
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
When? Austin's like
Soon.
music capital city of the world, dude. That shit's. What is the best music city? Austin, Nashville.
Yeah, there you go. Nashville. I haven't been there very often, but my boys that have been going, doing this stuff I was just talking about, yeah, they love Nashville.
Sick.
They love
Who's
it.
who put me on to a couple of EDM artists or electronic music artists, not necessarily EDM, but that's the same shit, right?
Mhm.
Put, give me 2 or 3 DJs to look up after we're done.
All right, let's see. Look up. This is a. Let's see. Guess you can look up Damian Lazarus. That's like a
Damien
pretty,
Lazarus.
he'll hit a lot of notes for you there.
I like that. Never heard it.
Put down Alex Perez with an Alix Perez. That's drum and bass.
Sick.
Yeah, yeah. And
All right.
ooh, if you want to listen to some techno, some super sick, hard hitting techno right now,
Hit me with it.
I'll probably send you her name because it's hard to. Her last name's hard, but Sama, Sama. She's a Palestinian DJ. So if you just put Sama into Instagram, she'll pop up.
Okay. SANA.
Yeah, and her last name's like Allah Huda, or oh shit. Yeah, anyways, it's a Palestinian name.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
hard to pronounce. So those are 3. That's like
That's
what's good, right?
yeah,
That's
that's
what's good
lovely.
right there. Yeah.
Listen, now that we've started our list, I got lists for you. We just covered music you like. I want to know writers that I don't know about that you know about that I should know about. Give me
Oh
a couple.
wow.
Give me a couple of them.
I actually feel like I'm kind of distant in this category, but let's see. Hmm. Oh wow. Oh, I don't know. I've listened to most of the podcasts, and I don't know if someone's talked about this already. Maybe Jarvis did, but Tam Roston,
Tam Ruston.
Roston.
Yeah.
You've heard of him already?
Who did mention him? I think it was Joe. Yeah, Joe
Yeah,
Jarvis
yeah.
might
He's a
have
fucking
mentioned him.
man.
Yeah,
We were just on the trip together. And not to say he's unheard of or anything, but honestly, I didn't know much about him before this trip. And he's a shit. He's a young gun. He's 22. He's killing it.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, his writing is pretty savage, pretty dope.
He's dope.
Talented motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Who else you got? And dude, thanks for saying you listen to these. I just keep in my mind
sure.
that I'm like, nobody listens. It's freeing if you
No,
think
dude.
nobody's listening. It's just a conversation, you know?
Well, it's stoked. I'm stoked. I've been trying to keep up with it,
Thank you for the connection. I don't know
I gotta
if,
support the mothership, bro.
yeah, I don't know if people know, but Wes is the reason that this podcast is brought to you by DIGBMX. It's kind of crazy.
Well, they like you. I was just a segue.
Your beautiful segue. You got
You did your
21-year-old hair. You're a beautiful man.
Yeah.
All right. Any other writers come to mind that I should know about? Or that we should know about? We the peeps?
Let's see. Oh my God. I feel like I'm like, wow. I feel like I don't even know what's up right now.
Do you even ride BMX, bro?
Some would argue. Damn, dude. I don't know. Like, I don't want to repeat. I want to say some names that have been repeated, or that have been said already. So
Nobody cares. I don't care.
Yeah.
Repeat.
No, I know, but it's not that I know really much. It's just like I just heard them say that, and I was like, yes, that kid is killing it. But let's see, the kid, Logan, like everyone knows Logan Pranberg, something.
Logan, yeah. What's his last name? What is
He writes for
Logan Penberg.
Mm-hmm.
Penberg. He's from Austin.
He's in Austin at least right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Logan, that's a good one. Can
Mm-hmm.
you do
and
one
I know
more?
these guys are more or less well known, And Curly Man, like I was on the trip with him. He's fucking killing it.
Yeah, that's three good ones.
He's kind of like he needs he's like he's fresh. He's got great style. I love him so much. He's a badass.
It is refreshing to see somebody with like their kind of own style or bringing something. It seems like he's not scared. He does shit. All right, we covered writers I don't know. But I know them all. You can't stump me, Wes. But you know what you can stump me is you should put people on to some old scene videos from Albuquerque. Like you mentioned it earlier, but if somebody wanted to know about the OG Albuquerque scene,
oh man,
hit me with a couple of those.
Yeah, like Roll Mexican, Make Moves is a good
Roll one. Mexican. That's like the brand name.
Yeah, Roll Mexican. Yeah, Make Moves. Or no, wait.
That's all one.
No. Roll Mexican is the name of the crew, and then like what was it? Make Moves. Yeah, it was Make Moves.
All right.
Nate's gonna kick my ass right now if I got this wrong. There's two.
Nate's not listening. Actually, no, he
gonna
listen. Nate's gonna listen to this. Hi, Nate.
Oh man, yeah, and just like dude, Fishing with Dynamite. I doubt you can find that. Fishing with Dynamite was Will Miller made that video. Sam Miller's brother.
Okay.
And Nate filmed a whole bunch of stuff. Like he filmed a lot of the Roll Mexican.
I'm trying to remember the videos. Name. There's like one that's sticking in my head for Albuquerque, but the
one that people can find. It's got like over 1.5 million views or something random on YouTube. It was, oh my God, Crosco's gonna kick my ass. It's ABQ DNV video, and it's oh dude, what is it called? Holy shit! Let's see. Look this up.
Eat the Streets?
No,
that's a jam. Chip Your Tooth jams. Full length video.
Oh wow.
Full length.
Oh, what is it?
Sorry, Mario.
Yeah, it was really bad. The
Way Out?
No,
that came out in 2019.
That's wow, that's crazy. Oh my God. It's like I wish I could phone a friend right now. This is just because,
Dude, let's phone a friend.
I'm on the spot.
Call Mario. I can call Clay.
Yes, call Clay. That'd be sick. Oh my God, why oh no. Wow. Okay. Anyways. But yeah,
Dude, I'm calling Clay because he'll know. He'll know what they are. Let's see.
because all the things that Nate and Crosco made, Gorman made some old school videos too. Like everyone was just getting down with VXs, and it was a crew thing. Like
Yeah.
people were just like filming shit because Nate's cameras got jacked. Like shit just happened. It was cool.
I remember stories about Nate's cameras getting jacked. Let's see
What
if
the?
Clay answers. He's at
Oh my
work.
god. Yeah, Bobby, what are you calling me for?
The hell you want, Bubby?
Wow.
All right, no Clay answer. Hello?
Please leave your message.
Rolling? Something rolling?
Oh,
No.
oh, 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 oh.
Just listening to a couple 30-year-old fried guys trying to remember some shit.
I know.
Shit.
Anyways, moving on.
So we got Roll Mexican, Make Moves, Fishing with Dynamite, and then that's a good start. Maybe look up ABQ DMV if you haven't heard of them.
I know. Yeah. It's just like that. ABQ DNB on Instagram.
I have written down here. Remember Stranger? We talked about your favorite photo, which was Reed doing the ice that's not out yet.
Well, let's see. Yeah, my favorite photo though.
Yeah.
Like a favorite photo, because I was just thinking of like kind of a stressful one on that one.
Okay. Yeah, hit me with a
My
favorite.
favorite one. Oh, my favorite one is with Nate Richter. It's the old school spot in downtown Albuquerque. It's the curve wall ride. It was like fucking pretty infamous, like super well known at least. And it's like a complete 180-degree curve wall, and it was about like shoulder height maybe at the best, a little lower, and just the perfect shit, And you just have to haul ass and like do this crazy carve and dive into it. But we were shooting, and it was one of those things like as a photographer, you're like, sometimes your shit's just like misfiring or like what the fuck ever's happening. It's just like you kind of just nervous about it. And Nate was doing a curve wall around to like hop out downside ice on it, like on top of it.
Sick.
And yeah, that ran in Transworld, and that was a double page in Transworld, but it's like shot it with flashes and all the things, and like it was perfect as far as like lighting wise to emphasize like the chip of the cement of the wall, and as you could see it all lit up, and it's like he's on the fucking ledge. It's like
Perfectly
money.
timed,
It's
well
money.
composed,
And like for me, like fuck, like you know what I mean. I was always trying to pull through for everyone, but Nate, it was like more so special to pull through for his ass because he's a hard critic.
Yeah. I love that, dude.
So it was good.
I wonder if it's online, or can you send it to me after? And I don't know.
Definitely, yeah.
I would love to see that. If I'm thinking about the same curve wall rides, are they on campus or no?
No, they're in downtown.
Okay, never mind.
They're right. That famous white wall ride. It's like blue handrails around it, and it's just the famous bank.
Yeah.
Nate pegged it. Yeah, it's right next to that.
Okay.
It's like right.
I'm trying to remember if we went there on a Sabrosa trip. It's like kind of all a blur. I have a vision of filming some curved wall rides in Albuquerque, but I'm not sure.
Went there, yeah.
Who were your influences photography wise? Did you get inspiration from outside of BMX photography wise? Are there photographers that I should look up and see their shit? And then also within BMX, give me your Mount Rushmore of influential photographers in your life.
Well, yeah, definitely like my uncle, John Swenson. And then like, yeah, I guess like what made it real was, so that was like the roots of it was my uncle. And then what made it real was like Sam Adams and people who were like, my age, I guess. They know Sam Adams from the Southwest stuff. He really put Albuquerque on the map as far as like making Albuquerque look really good. Like all the boys have always been on it. Carrasco was in there, Joe was in there, Nate was in there, like killing it. You know what I mean? Like beautiful fucking photography. And that was when I'd like show up to the skate park with like my film camera or like my little bag, just chilling. And you'd see Sam with his 2, 3, 4 flashes. He, going to college, and like he came out to California, did Brooks Institute of Photography, which I tried to go to, all these like things, Yeah. And I was like, wow, there it is. I'm like, he's fucking doing it. I'm like, so there's his stuff. There's like my friends. There he is. He's my friend. And like, there's his pictures in the magazine. I'm like, what is he doing? What do I need to do that? You know,
Dope.
like he made it tangible and real,
Sick.
you know? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, this is sick, you know? So took it from there. So my uncle, Sam Adams, and then I guess, you know, yeah, definitely just Jeff Z. And
Yep.
the funny, and like, you know, Rob Delecki for sure. And I looked up to a lot of people, I'm sure, in their imagery before I paid attention to the name in the page. But you know, Fred, I love Fred's photography. It's always been the shit.
Yep.
And you know, kind of just those core people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Fred's
The
Instagram
dudes.
is Frank Blurry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go
Fred
follow
Murray.
Frank Blurry. Fred
Mm-hmm.
Murray.
Mm-hmm. And like those,
Mm-hmm.
you know, those guys. And yeah, what was it? What Uncle?
Yeah, you hit
Oh yeah,
forward.
Z. So the thing about Jeff is like on that 2 hip limo trip, it was so funny. So this is like the beauty about magazine stuff, right? Is like I'd always have trans worlds, and I remember I used to rip out all the pages, and I have this fat folder of like just photos out of trans worlds, which I should have left in the magazine. But as a kid, you just don't think about that. You know, you're just like,
Yeah.
this is so sick. So I just study all these different photos all the time, just looking at them like I would do with like black and white magazines of, you know, different street photography and stuff. My uncle always told me to just study images, you know, just like
Sick. Yeah.
look at them. Don't care what camera you have or like who took the photograph or who's it of or whatever.
Yeah.
Study like, you know, study like, is it, you know, not to be like all judgmental, but like, is it a good photograph? Like, is this like, what are you doing? You know, is it a photograph or is it a picture? You know, like
Yes.
whatever. And so Z, I remember on that trip, I'm just kind of like editing my pictures from the day. You know, not trying to be too like whatever showy, but I'm in my living room while they're sleeping at my house working on photos. You know, while Jeff Z's in the spot. You know, I'm like trying to like. and then I remember over like the, you know, maybe complimentary awkwardness that happened over my computer. I think he prompted me some question, and whatever it was, and I was like, oh well, like this one photo, I remember. It's like the sickest thing. It was like the one that made me want to start using flashes was this photo of Rob Wise. He was in Trans World. It was a vertical picture released in the magazine, and it's Rob Wise ice picking the back of a semi truck, like the trailer hitch of it, basically, over a Jersey barrier out of a black asphalt bank, and it's like lit, like, you know, dark to where it looks like it almost could be at night. And then there's just like brick. It's probably like in Philly or some shit. And I just remember seeing that for some reason, like the way that there was like light coming in on the other side of the barrier from under the semi, the way that like Z lit it so you can like see the wheels a little bit, like the silhouette. Just the way Z would like light stuff differently. But I never knew it was Jeff. I just like remember tearing that picture out and like always looking at it and stuff. And I told him that, and he was like, oh yeah. He was like, that's my photo. I was like,
oh hell yeah.
I'm like, oh god. So Z was the one that was like, oh, okay, like another level of Sam Adams, you know, like, oh, like I want to work with the dudes. I want to like get magazines or get photos in the magazine. And like, he's the one doing that. So I kind of like apprentice Z, you know?
Yeah.
So that what was cool. Like he came out and did the scene report in Albuquerque once. He was stoked on Albuquerque after he came out on that 2 hip trip.
Yeah.
And did a scene report with all of us. So like Derek Dormy and everyone, even up in Santa Fe,
Sick.
Andres and everyone. And that was it. Z is the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, and he's been doing it. When I was looking at like old footage of Rat Boy, I see Jeff Z's on a trip. Like I'm like, wow, man, he's still going, and he's phenomenal. Sir. And you say studying photographs. You're such a natural that like your setup right now, you're on your phone, but if you look at the lines and symmetry of the way you framed yourself right now, it's beautiful. You can't help yourself. You did it. You're doing it. You know, it's ingrained into you. I know this might be probably, you know, all over the place, but what's a typical day in the life for you? Because I'm sure your life is chaos, but also what's your dream day? Not chaos in a bad way. You're traveling and shit. You're doing
not at all. I said, oh man, because I just like spilled this ash everywhere. But no, my typical day is I like to wake up early. I'm an early riser.
I remember I texted you like, "Are you still a morning person?" Because every trip you were up early with the coffee and just working on your photos in the morning. Yeah,
yeah. I can say like, not to say I've gotten lazier, but my days have changed a lot. But I definitely get up early and I try to like it's funny. I've gone through this thing where I'm not like my phone will be kind of stacked. I don't really pay attention to my phone very much. And I'm just like, oh God. And it's like, meh. But I'll handle all that kind of stuff, online phone things. And I'm usually like, honestly, if I'm like somewhere and I'm not like, I guess essentially driving there, flying there, or doing like a trip or like a party or something, doing a job, like I'm kind of chilling like I am today. I'm here at my sister's house in LA and I just kick it. So, I've since last May, I moved out of my house in Long Beach. So I've just been kind of making my slow migration to Austin a little
Nice.
bit because I've been with California for 10 years. It's pretty hard to let her go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like,
She's a good girl.
but
California.
like, you know what I mean? So I'll be between, SoCal and Austin, but trying to have an impact in the scene in Austin with BMX still, like, because there's so many people there all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a smaller town. It's easier to just like homie up with everybody, and
Yep.
everyone's just fucking shredding. Everyone has a hard on for BMX out there. It's great.
Yeah.
Not to say Southern California doesn't, but it's a little different. And Austin, so that's a really positive thing for me because my family lives in Austin. My mom and dad have been there for a while now, for 8 years maybe.
Nice.
And my sister lived there once upon a time, moved to LA, all around, and then moved back. She's there now, so I'm living with her and we're hanging out. So it's like, yeah, my normal day is pretty hectic as far as I don't really have a normal day.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, you know,
What's your vice? How do you let loose? Do you want to talk about partying? Do you have advice for
I just,
young kids who are like tempted to party? Because I know
hmm.
you and I both have partied our asses off in our 20s. What advice would you give to a young kid to avoid
Oh,
fucking your life up?
well, I guess like the part, it's interesting because BMX is like, I remember my sister flying into California, me picking her up and driving her to a music festival, Lightning in a Bottle, once upon a time. And she was like, brother, come with me. Like, come on. I love doing those things with my sister. And I was like, no, I'm just going to go sit in the grass with like Jeff and, like my boys, like, Nate and everybody. And just chill in Long Beach. Like, I'm not trying to not be in Long Beach. There's shit happening. People are doing tricks. I need to fucking be there.
Yeah.
And then, some years down the road, I'm like, sister, let's go to this fucking music festival. Come on, let's go. And so like, so the thing is like the reason why I'm super, grateful for photography is because like when I got like, coaxed into that like system, or not, what am I saying? Like when I got like really stoked to go out and like enjoy parties and festivals and stuff, when I was like, wow, this is sick. I had my camera with me all the time.
Yeah.
You wouldn't find me like assed out somewhere, like, you know, like not just there to be like, to be partying and shit.
Just to
Like
be
I
fucked
felt good
up.
about
Yeah.
it. And it's kind of funny because when I kind of got to my limit with like, I just like, I want to have it. I want to do more. Like, I don't want to just come to these parties and shoot photos and be like posting on Instagram, like hoping people see them and shit. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Like, I don't have bandwidth for that. Even though I'm having fun, I got like drained. So that's when like Corey hit me up. It was like all the same time. And then I
Nice.
started, all my photography went like photo wise went, music wise went for our company there.
Sick.
And so like my vision and my imagery was strictly for what we were doing. And I wasn't like giving it out to other different companies and stuff who didn't really appreciate anyways.
Yeah. It sounds
At
like
least,
the advice is to,
oh yeah, so I
maintain
was getting so
maintain like yeah, go.
so yeah, like, definitely if you're partying, be aware that like, you don't have to like, do drugs to party or like drink alcohol, because eventually as time goes on, it's like one or the other. You kind of figure it out like, damn, yeah, I partied like super way too hard. That was gnarly. Like, well, I'm all fucked up from that. Or on the real bad side of it, you get, you see the dark side of what that is. And I've
Yeah.
had plenty of friends go through it. I've lost a lot of friends, and
Yep.
not from like my current like close connection of like, oh, we're partying so hard I lose friends. It's like I've lost friends to drugs that people party on.
Yeah.
So it's like you just, never chase something that's outside of your moral code. Just don't do it. Dabble in stuff, like have fun, do whatever you want, but those things don't create good times or connections or make you any cooler.
Yep.
you know
Facts.
they definitely, you know definitely make they make new bonds with people that you never would have expected to make bonds with, especially in the BMX community. You
Yeah.
know, like you'd go out, or like it's just a different kind of thing, not like any. And it's opening up now. You know what I mean? There's a lot more people in our bracket of lifestyle that are opening up to just being a little bit more accepting of a lot of different things. You know what I
Right.
mean? And not to say we're rigid as a whole, but you know what I mean? We're like hardcore motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They hit the ground and shit. They're not trying to deal with some sparkly shit all the time. But at the same time, like, they're investing in their mentality. They're investing in like their interests in life. And if that takes you to that type of scene, just be aware of it, and don't think
Yeah.
you know it all, and just learn from people.
I
If
like
you
that.
see something you don't, and if you see something you don't like, make sure you're not that person doing it.
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
From what you were saying
No.
earlier, I was gonna say it sounds like the camera and having goals and like working on something will keep your compass pointed in the right direction, and then you'll see if drugs or alcohol is like kind of taking you off that path. And it's like if that starts happening, course correct. And I think it's
Yeah.
important
And
to have a big ass goal. I don't know what it keeps you. That's what saved me is having big ass goals, like the full length videos that we
mm-hmm.
work on and shit like that, and whatever.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
can't get too lost down the rabbit hole of psychedelics, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of
Mm-hmm.
psychedelics done in the right dose with the right people. I think it can be like a spiritual and bonding thing, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. And it's all about just calling upon yourself and hoping you're mature enough to handle what happens in the situation.
yeah.
You know,
Have you
because
had
that's
a?
all it is.
I'm sure you've had a bad trip at some point in your life. I'm trying to
Well, I
remember
would
if I've had
probably
a
I
bad
would
trip.
probably say I have worse experiences dead sober because of my overthinking aspect.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like fucking distraught about some shit. Excuse my French, but yeah, you know what I mean. But I've been fortunate in any type of like, you know, ulterior mindset that I put myself in. I've been around great people, has interest, had great experiences. Like I haven't really ever had anything to where I've been like, whoa, I need to put the brakes on. Like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? I've been
Yeah.
around some scenarios because of that culture and stuff that like, that's what I meant earlier about like when you're presenting with the situation, make sure you're not that person doing it. Cause like your moral code gets tested about, you know what I mean? People do crazy shit, bro.
Right.
People like the connection, like people are more so into their phone and how to like get women or get men or get people through like a digital way. So like interacting with people when you're like in these spaces, people are on drugs, they do weird shit. So make
Yeah.
sure you're not one of them. And
Yep.
you know what I mean? Know what's up when you're in that space. So
Solid
you know what I
advice.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a left or a right, bro.
Hold
It's
it
a left or a
together.
right.
Hold it down. Let's see. I think that's it, man. I linked. Yeah, I got nothing more
we
on my
went we
notes.
went we went there, bro. It's
We
great.
did that.
You
I
know?
think. I think we're right at the 2 hour mark right now. That shit flew by.
Wow.
Well,
Nice.
at least close to
Cool.
2 hours. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for doing it, Wes. Thanks for the
Yeah.
the dig plug and shit. Oh, dude, I texted Clay. Let's see if he says anything. Ask him about hate bikes. He says,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the squad I was talking about as far as like when Nate was making all the videos. Nate had a
yeah,
little bike. He started selling parts that he designed in dance comp, like hate bikes, handlebars, and stuff like that.
that's sick.
Nate's always on a mission, and
He's
he's
an entrepreneur.
definitely still on one. It's great, still on a mission.
You talk to
And
him
so
more
like
than I do. How's the Golden Days doing?
I missed his call this morning. He's gonna hate me, but yeah, we hung out yesterday. Me,
Nice.
him, and Chris hang out. He's in Long Beach. He's doing his thing.
Clay was telling me that Nate
I'm proud of that guy.
got hurt, dude. Like his back. Um,
Yeah, he had a fucking Becky out of me, bro.
shit, I
Yeah,
got a Becky out of me.
man. Yeah, I get, I remember seeing like the clip that he posted on Instagram, like the spot he was writing and everything, and then in the group chat, like he's sending us photos and he's like fucking crook, like bent, like so I guess he threw his back out and there's some really interesting things happening with his back.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's making the best of it and channeling his relentless energy into another avenue. Stoked for him.
Yeah, man. He's really, that boy has come a long way, as
Yeah.
far as like just like my friendship with him, everything that people, more or less thought of him, put him through or whatever. He's just like, he's loving BMX, bro. He's
Keeps on
doing his thing.
pushing. He's a good
Yeah.
role model. It's pretty awesome.
Honestly, I'm proud of me.
Let's see. Let's end it with just general advice to kids getting into BMX or photography or videography, because you've done it all.
Well, um, I guess just don't compare yourself to others, really. You know.
Solid. Yeah.
Um, yeah, because that's like kind of the thing. I guess it's like so tangible. You see, like I guess I can say I see it. Um, in certain like younger generations of writers, you know, like even just in my periph, like when I'm scrolling through Instagram or whatever, I'm like, oh damn, was that like, oh, was that my boy? Was that Simone? Or like, oh, was that someone? Or like, was that, oh no, that's just some kid. It's like, because
Yeah.
they're just, and it's not even, maybe they're not even intentionally doing it because it's an interesting thing, it's like monkey see, monkey do. So it's like, if your fucking favorite bike rider, is one of these guys and like you watch them all the time, you might end up like doing subconscious things that make you just look exactly like the dude.
Yeah.
And then it's, what I mean? Stuff like, it's like, so yeah, you just can't compare yourself to others and just like know the shit that came before you.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing I have to say is like, know the shit that came before you. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Don't clown on some shit or like think you know everything. Cause like people have been doing this shit for a long time and they're still doing it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
For
Like
real.
young kids are awesome. Young kids are awesome.
Hold on.
Action to the next generation of what it's going to be.
Pause real quick. You were cutting out. Let's see. See if we can fix it.
Ooh.
Oh, come back, internet. So know what's happened before you. I learned that shit the hard way, dude. I was at Nora Cup and Fudger had like legends, old school legends presenting awards, and I remember
Yeah.
being young and not really knowing how much of legends they are and tweeting and saying at Ride BMX, why don't you get somebody relevant on the stage to present
Oh my
like
God.
Nigel? And then Fudger tweeted back at me and said, "Shut up, you dumb shit," or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm so sorry." I've apologized to Fudger like 4 or 5 times over the years just for that tweet. That was my learning point. I think I was like 18 years old and just a
Yeah.
young dumb shit. Even yeah, I'd say because it's impossible to study everything and learn everything, but like wherever you are, you can at least start locally to where you are and see who came from where you are and study your local
Well,
scene and then
yeah. And
yeah,
well, like, I guess like not to be all like weird about it, but it's just like, it's cool. It's a culture, right? BMX is a culture.
it
And
is.
it's like, it's something that like, being a part of it means that it has a history, especially for like the history of it. It's kind of like if you walk into a room, some people are having a conversation, not like just metaphorically, like it's nice to have a background on shit. It's like, it's historical stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, where did Garrett Reynolds? He was inspired by people that were fucking older than him,
Yep.
like who do you think all these badasses learned from?
Yeah.
Badasses that came before him that were doing crazier shit than anyone even thinks of doing today. You
For
know what I
real.
mean? Like
Dude,
the
looking
Van
at
Helman square manual, like that square rail man.
yeah, nuts. Just looking at like park
The fuck?
contests that have
People are
been
doing crazy
posted.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
There's a what is it? I think it's 2000s BMX or early 2000s BMX is an Instagram account and they post clip or footage from like old Midwest ramp contests and the shit that they were doing you don't see today, like I guess you see some pretty gnarly stuff on the park side of things
dude,
nowadays. Like that's a whole nother ball game that like you should look up and study if you're
like
only into street.
Metro
Yeah.
jams and stuff,
Yeah.
like
Just
skate park jams they'd have on like mega tours and shit.
yeah, and then just the combos that people were doing on like sub box spines and who's the dude that landed in a hang five 360
Oh,
and a hang
I was just
five
gonna
in the
say that.
quarter, like landing
So
down
yeah,
a quarter and hang five,
Dave
so crazy.
Frymouth in like a forward in like a baseball hat with a helmet on it.
Yes.
Both brakes, 4 pegs, big 360 over a street spine to like hang five to like 180, sit down,
Yes. So
just pull
crazy.
out. Swag.
Swag.
Cool as shit. Cool as shit.
All right, let's
Sweaty
wrap it
knee
up
pads
with
outside the jeans.
what is your personal favorite trick? You say you don't do tricks, but what's your
Mhm.
favorite looking trick? I guess in
Bro,
general, not necessarily you doing it, but what's your favorite BMX stunt?
my favorite thing to ever see
Yeah.
is Mike Aiken variation over a huge dirt jump, a 360 variation over a huge dirt jump, which is
Yep.
usually like, oh dude, like like those crazy unlook back things.
Yep.
Fucking, oh, the
So
best,
beautiful. So
best.
beautiful. Mike Aiken
Like, oof,
riding is art.
yeah, yeah,
Pure art.
yeah, yeah. Mike Aiken's God.
He really is, man. I remember tripping the fuck out. I met him out in Vegas at Interbike. I got on GT, and Chuck Fallon is from Utah and knows Mike, and I got to, as a young buck, go meet the goddamn legend Mike Aiken, and I was just like, he's a real
Mhm.
person, and he's nice. That's another thing I would tell young people is like everybody's just a person. Like you can look up to people, but worship no idols. I guess, and that's a weird phrase, but at the end of the day, everybody is a person, and you can't, I don't know, think of them differently.
But it's
I
cool. Like, it's cool to just have like to be proud of your own style, like not like matching what someone else can do or whatever, or like because it's just hard these days, like there's so much in our face every day of like what is out there or like whatever.
yeah,
It's kind of like it almost narrows our scope because it's kind of like it's just a psychological thing, your
yeah,
mind like kind of tracks what it sees, and especially with our phones every day. So it comes down to like whatever you wear, how you speak, you watch a TV show. Like I watched Trailer Park Boys for like 6 months one time, just totally changed my vocabulary. I turned into a fucking turned into an asshole. So it's like,
amazing. Yeah, be aware of what you consume because you'll become it. And
mhm.
fuck, I was about to say something. Um, yeah, don't get depressed if you see kids on Instagram that are better than you. I'm learning that because if I scroll through
Yeah.
and I look at and I compare myself to riders nowadays, I'm like, why am I even bothering filming a part? But you have to do it. Just do you. I'd say,
Yeah. Cause it's all
yeah,
about, reinforcing yourself because you're
yeah,
not other people. So you got to reinforce yourself. So
love
whatever
it.
you can do, keep raising the bar in what you can do and
Yeah,
accomplish the bar.
and accomplish the bar, man.
Monkey
All right.
bars.
I think I gotta go, Wes. I gotta get back to work. Shit. Don't
I
tell
love it.
don't tell anybody I was doing this during work.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you,
you.
Bobby. I appreciate it, man. It's been great.
Yeah, it's good to talk. I've known you for a long time. It's wild.
Yeah, we just caught up for real.
Yeah. Happy to see you. I hope
Cool,
you have a
man.
good rest of your day.
You
This'll
too, bro. Thanks for everything you're doing over there.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day, you know?
Oh, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby. Will you
Mm-hmm.
be my Valentine?
All
All right. Later, everybody.
right, man.
Hello, you've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I'll see you next week. I love you all. Share the show with your friends. If you seriously made it to the end like this, share it with just one person. If everybody who listened shared it with one person, we'd be tripling our audience every week. And we do want to grow. So I appreciate you. Thanks for all the messages you guys have been sending. It's incredible. Keeps me going. Don't be shy. Hit me up on Instagram. And yeah, big shout out to Wes McGrath for being down. And I don't know who's next, but you'll see when it happens. Later.